Hey, the world can totally see me right now. Well, sort of can see me. Now you can probably actually see me. Before you could only kind of like hear me or something. Anyway, hello, I'm the Chris who plays games, playing retro games every Monday at 9:15, whatever. I feel like every Friday at 9:15. Tonight we are finishing up Spyro the Dragon. The lovely purple dragon is here. Hello, Van Helsing, painstakingly played, Bowtie, So Fly, James Holder, and Laith the Revenite. Welcome to the stream, one and all. I am the Chris who plays games, and we're going to be playing some more Spyro the Dragon this evening. Spyro the Dragon being the game that we played on Monday. So this is a PS1 platformer, and yeah. I don't know. I would say good, but I think I'd be lying. I am not great. I am really kind of tired. It's been a long couple weeks for a bunch of different things as far as work and life and the world, and I am definitely ready to be going on vacation this next week with Mrs. CPG and my family. So I am happy to be doing that. Tonight we'll be talking about we're talking about all the YouTube stuff over the past week. So there's been a bunch of advertiser-related changes, and we'll talk about the YouTube is over party trends going on right now. We'll be continuing to talk about the continued political breakdown in this country as Steve Bannon is out, Trump is still in. Who knows what's going on left, right, upside down, or sideways? Hello, Flame Gremlin. Welcome to the stream. I have spent the past couple days attempting to convince people that the world is not ending with mild non-success, I guess. With practically speaking no success. Why is my game, is it like super quiet? It is kind of just super quiet, I think. Let's do this. Maybe like that. Maybe like that. Hello. You have to leave at 10 for Rick and Morty. Understood. I mean, we all know how important Rick and Morty is. It's probably the single most popular and important, you know, cultural meme that exists in the world at any given time. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I haven't watched Rick and Morty at all. I know that a lot of people are like super big on it, but I am not a Rick and Morty person so far. I mean, Steve Bannon, it's unclear whether he's going to go after Trump or just go after everyone in the White House but Trump and hope that Trump continues to do his thing. I mean, he's certainly still going to be running Breitbart, which is absolutely the propaganda of record for many Trump supporters. So it is, you know, open question exactly how that's going to work. It's very quiet, yeah. Yeah, there's a terrorist attack in Barcelona and in, well, Charlottesville, Virginia would be the other kind of place I would think of. There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit more audible for game audio. It's still a little bit quiet, but I don't want it to overpower my lovely voice. So we all know that the most important thing in any CPG stream is me. Oh god, don't shoot me! He shot me. Fuck you, dude. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that didn't go well. Yeah, so earlier, obviously, last weekend, there was a white supremacist drove a car into a crowd at a white supremacist rally in Charlottesville. We also saw the defense from Donald Trump of that action in his statements on Tuesday at his like announcement deal for his infrastructure plan. So we're definitely seeing the rise of white supremacy supported by the President of the United States of America. Well, so the problem, Van, is I think that we're actually already seeing shit. We're already seeing. All right, I'm gonna start this level over. We're not gonna lose 2 lives to that. All right, you know what? I got both the dragons out of there. I'm just gonna go on and not try and get all the gems out of it for now. Oh, crap. Well, I had the right idea. Trump is over party. Hello, Iron Milk Conrad. How are you? I mean, it's really, at this point, this whole thing is just so crazy that, like, trying to predict it or even think about it is almost impossible in any meaningful way. Like, there is no rational no rational analysis is possible of activities where none of the actors are behaving rationally. And I fully feel like that is the case right now in the White House and everything else. Like, the GOP is still acting rationally. They are working hard to distance themselves from being openly racist while still maintaining their love of Donald Trump and all of his ability to sign their bills, which is the only thing they cared about from him in the first place, right? So they are sticking to their guns on the idea that, yeah, we're not really big on the out-and-out public racism, but we would like to make sure that we can continue to get all these things signed. And so there is absolutely no rational analysis that you can do of these people because they're not acting rationally. There is no way in which Trump going out and defending white nationalism is a sensible thing to do from a political standpoint. So looking at it in any of the normal political ways is senseless. Instead, you have to kind of look at it just from like I don't know, like a random number generator and see like how many times it works out. Sadly, our analytical skills for societal level analysis are pretty bad at this point. We have not yet invented psychohistory, but that's really like what we need. Of course, psychohistory has the problem that it never really worked at the level of a single planet anyway. You really need something like 25 trillion lives in a galactic scale empire to scale it properly. Anyway, hello Brad, Pritchard, and anybody else. Do I think that this world is cursed because of the war? I don't understand that question, so I think my answer is no. But I'm not sure that I know which war you're talking about or why the world would be cursed because of it, so it's hard for me to say. I got you. Ugh, fuck! A tired toddler with a microphone. Yeah, I mean, as far as rational analysis goes, that's effectively true. Like, you cannot do rational analysis of someone who does not behave rationally or even as an adult. It's just not possible. And so I look at it and I'm just like, I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea what comes next. All I know is that, like, we are definitely fucked. Anyway. So yeah, it's been an exciting week. I mean, yes, I think that Trump is suffering from age-related dementia, I think, is a completely defensible position. I think that is very, you know, plausible / likely, and I have no particular, you know, qualms in that. But it doesn't explain, I mean, Trump has been a racist for 40 years, right? Like, this is hardly new. He was sued in federal court in the 70s for being an unabashed racist, you know, and effectively, you know, making sure that black people couldn't stay in his housing and everything else like that. No, I don't think that this source of this is because of the war in Syria and Afghanistan. I think that it is the result of a large group of people feeling sufficiently displeased with the political state of the world that they elected a madman. Which sucks. In general, electing madmen does suck, you know. Dictatorial, adversarial madmen are not really good for you. You can tell that from, you know, other places in the world like Cuba and North Korea. They've both had, you know, very aggressive, you know, dictatorial style leaders, or just dictators, I guess, is what you would call them. So it is no surprise to me what we're dealing with at the moment, because it's exactly what you'd expect given who we voted for. Yeah, but you know, in addition to politics, there was also this week the YouTube's expansion of their program to allow users to appeal demonetized videos, which is of course being perceived by many creators as being an out-and-out attack on the small creator on YouTube, because they are very upset that they cannot make their 22 pennies because, you know, their content was deemed by a shitty algorithm to be insufficiently advertiser-friendly. And I can understand some aspects of this. Like, it is shitty that YouTube has a system which is, it feels both, you know, inconsistent and unhelpful, because, you know, we have these guidelines and you'll be like, well, my video doesn't, you know, fail the guidelines, but I don't have enough views to appeal it, and so I have no idea where to go from there. And I think a lot of people just get the idea that YouTube might be wrong. Like, they just assume that because YouTube does a thing, that YouTube assumes it's right. And I guess assumes maybe is a weird word there, but in general, YouTube does a lot of things that we know aren't right. And I don't know how to communicate that to users better, because we don't seem to want to admit that we might be wrong. So, oh, it's okay, Flame Gremlin. I mean, the reality, I don't know. I don't know, like, I don't really want to have us build a whole series of safeguards around the idea of, you know, Trump is a non-exceptional case, because I would like to think that the way we got here is a little bit exceptional. That the level of failed political discourse in our country is not the norm, and not something that we should create an entire ecosystem and plan around, because I don't really want to think that that's where we're at. Maybe I'm just being naive, but it seems like this is just the result of a perception that politics has fallen apart, right? That voters are convinced that voting has no purpose, and that, you know, they might as well just give up and go home. Well, so it is, Brad, at the moment, there's like a new thing rolling out soon, which will probably affect more of your content. Probably not all, but which is this kind of like gray area, right? So basically what happened is that in February, there was this whole thing started by like the Times of London, and then later kind of picked up by a lot of different UK mainstream media, about basically YouTube placing ads next to highly offensive content, right? Like, effectively terrorist recruiting materials. And I don't know if it was quite beheading videos, which I know we try to get, you know, rid of because I didn't read through all the articles. But the idea is that, like, it was pretty shitty content that maybe is borderline shouldn't have been on YouTube at all, or maybe it should be. I think so. It was like shouldn't have been on YouTube at all, and definitely shouldn't have been advertised on. And so when all these advertisers got upset, you know, YouTube's got to respond to that. Hello, pink dotted lines, how is it going? So like the oh, what's the word I want to use? Oh yeah, so like these programmatic advertisements like bring actual like new issues to the forefront that didn't exist for traditional kind of direct advertising. Like before, advertisers would pick like a TV network, but that TV network would have a standards organization that would basically say like, yeah, like you can talk about like terrorism in context, and like we've got like censors who are going to tell you like, no, you're going too far. And yeah, sometimes you might have some shows like, I don't know, SNL or even the news and CNN and other things like that that would be a bit more edgy. But the reality is that there's a lot of things that are on, you know, CNN or on like YouTube that would never fly on any kind of cable network, right? Like these are like HBO style content which no advertiser is willing to pay for. And with that being the case, you know, you've got this whole class of content that advertisers are like, no, like, we're not comfortable with the content we're seeing our ads on. Like, we are effectively, and another thing is, like, in direct advertisements, right, like mail advertisements or other things like that, which, you know, companies do have a lot of direct experience with, they have this, like, they don't have the strong association with other content, right? Like, when you get a mailer from Target, you don't assume that Target is endorsing the other things you get in the mail. But if you, like, are seeing content on YouTube that has an ad before it, like, 37% of viewers say that they, that they like associate that content and assume the brand is endorsing that content. Now, how much you can trust user polls, like that's another issue entirely, but overall there is at least some evidence that users say like, yeah, if I see an ad, I will assume that, you know, Pepsi is signing on to whatever content they're seeing, and saying it's okay. And that's, I think, a reasonable thing for people to assume as humans. And so, as you, like, look at that, like, advertisers said, like, we're not happy with the content we're on, and therefore we are objecting. We find this content objectionable, and we don't want to see our ads next to it. So YouTube is in a hard position then, because, like, YouTube, like, gets 500 hours of content uploaded to the website per day. So it is very difficult for humans to watch, or per minute, not per day. Per day would be easy. And so that makes it difficult for them to review that content. So now the question is like, well, what do you do? And so initially they had implemented these kind of advertiser restrictions that were relatively, you know, narrow, and would affect only a small portion of content, like 1%-ish, I think they said in like a public blog post, right? But then the advertisers came back and said, oh, no, like there is much more content here that we are upset about. And that can be everything from like Spider-Man and Elsa videos to like all this shit that's out there, that you know, advertisers are like, no, we don't want to be seen as associated with those things. And so with that being the case, YouTube's like, well, shit, now what do we do? And meanwhile, they've got advertisers who are coming in and being like, oh, by the way, like, we're pulling $750 million in ad spend off of your site over the next year, you know, because you can't fix this well enough. Like, our brand is not safe to be on your website. So, alright, so what is in here? Oh, bad guys. I want a frickin', like, I need some frickin' sheeps or something. So now YouTube is in this spot where, okay, now we're looking at this like, advertisers really don't want to be on content, like, we still don't have the manpower to review 500 hours of content per minute, much less, so I think I did the math at one point, that would be like, hiring 87,000 full-time staff, which is bigger than Google is now. Like, that's literally the size that we'd be talking about. And so instead they're like, okay, well, we'll just make another algorithm that is more conservative, right? Like, but the biggest problem with algorithms on YouTube is that, like, YouTube creators are shit at putting any relevant content into the video, right? With short of like analyzing every word in the video itself, which is certainly a component, and all this other stuff, like, there's not a lot that YouTube has to go on for creating like good, effective models of what content is in a particular YouTube video. And so, like, they're stuck in this place where, like, yeah, you're gonna make a machine learned algorithm, but it's gonna be based on a bunch of metadata that people put into the site, which is not super good, and usually it's just full of like spammy links and shit, right? So, like, it's a really hard job to do well. And so what's happening now, of course, is that because it's a really hard job to do well, YouTube has done the best they can, which is pretty shitty. And I don't know the actual numbers, but in the things that I'm seeing people complain about as this like gray area between demonetized and not suitable for all advertisers, blah, 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 is like, you know, half of it is just wrong. Like, or more than half of it is just wrong. And it seems like maybe everything that is a shooting game, like PUBG and Rainbow Six and Call of Duty, are all being tagged as being not advertiser friendly. And some creators, it seems like, maybe are getting heavily dinged on this, possibly because they have a bunch of other advertiser unfriendly videos, and being like, oh my god, the world is ending. And then because, like, you know, YouTube can't hire an infinite number of people, hello, Cherish, hello, and this guy's falling, because YouTube can't hire an infinite number of people, they like have to put a limit on when you can appeal, and the particular limit they chose, which I don't necessarily agree with, but the one that they chose is, you know, you have to make 1,000 views in the past 7 days. And so, like,
I'll tell you what to do with those.
1,000 views in the past 7 days is a pretty, like, moderately high bar, right? Like, that's a fair number of views, and like 7 days is not a lot of time, so you've got to be like looking at, like, you know, 10,000, 15,000 subs to be getting that kind of views, and now you're getting this tag on a whole bunch of old videos that aren't getting that anymore. So you look at your whole back catalog here and say, like, well, what the fuck? Like, I can't appeal my back catalog because, you know, I'm not getting 1,000 views a week on it anymore, because who does? And you know, like, this sucks. And it does suck. And it does suck because, you know, the algorithm sucks. Like, it's wrong half the time. And it feels like YouTube is criticizing you for what the content you're making. In reality, not entirely true. Like, YouTube is just
Spyro, it's great
taking like an extremely conservative position about your content because it doesn't know enough, but you can't even figure out if they like it or don't like it or whatever. So it's just this like huge shit show. And this time at least we tried to communicate. Like, the last time that we did this was when we sent everyone an email saying, like, by the way, here's a whole bunch of demonetized videos. You're out of luck, right? Like just so you know. And we've been like demonetizing shit for like 3 years, just never mentioning it to anybody, which is not really a smart thing to do if you want to endear yourselves to your creators, right? Like, it's just a bad practice. But we didn't have an appeal process, and so like telling people about it wasn't going to do them a whole lot of good because they couldn't do anything about it anyway. And so YouTube was just like, well, okay, we'll just do this. You're so happy in the NCX? That's great. Yeah, so I am okay. I'm just talking about, you know, the events leading up to the recent spike in limited or no ads labels being displayed to creators. Yeah, I don't know. There's just so much to break down here. Okay, so we already did Misty Bog. I did not go over here. There we go. Got you. And I need 5 more dragons before I can go on to the next level. And later on, I'm going to need... Oh, Treetop! This is the one that someone was mentioning that they really hate. Oh, that's nice, Dan. Ba-ba-da-ba. It depends who you ask, Brad. Trump says that he fired Bannon. Bannon says he retired. So the narratives you're seeing are confused because the two people who are involved in the decision say different things. I think that it is like we will never get a good answer, right? This is Trump we're talking about, who just recently said that he disbanded the executive council of his manufacturing committee when it turns out that they had all like retired earlier that day, and so him saying like, oh yeah, I fired them is like, you can't quit, you're fired, is basically the story there. So it's unclear whether we will ever get a good story.
Spyro, if you jump at the end of a supercharge ramp, you can really go far.
I'm all over it.
That's right, Gaslichu. You know it. Limited ass is the only kind of ass for me. No ass is definitely not my lifestyle. I sometimes even go full ass. That was not good. That was what I would call bad, in fact. Show some limited ass. No. I don't want to show some limited ads, then I would go into limited ads, and then we would just be terrible. I mean, I'm not going to get ads anyway, so I don't fucking, like, I don't even run ads on my content. Like, that's, yeah. gave an interview where he denounced white supremacy? Yeah, that surprises me as well. I'm a little bit confused because I feel like just a day ago he was like, I love this whole white supremacist thing. Like, Democrats are playing identity politics again, and I can play with them on that. Oh no, I didn't get up to the top. Shit. No, I don't want to return home. I need to get, like, more dragons and shit. Yeah, Jess earlier tonight was like, I should do the CPG rant, and it should be about how Chris never puts his phone down. And I was like, you should, but you don't get angry about things, so that's going to be very difficult for you. And she was like, yeah, it is. Alright, is this going to take me someplace? Okay. Get all the dragons! Yeah, I don't know if I don't really need to get all the dragons. I need another 4 dragons before I can go on to the next level. Oh, what? I hit jump and... Oh, god damn it! What the freety frick? But yeah, she was like, I don't really get angry well, and I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't think a case of whiskey would be enough for Brad. Ah! Yeah, no, so I explained to Jess that I was just about to start, like, that tomorrow starts my self-imposed no social media ban. So the only exception to that is I may hang out in Brad's stream over the next, like, day or two, so I can play some last rounds of golf before I run away on vacation, because I'm on vacation all next week. So Jess was like, so I'm going on a social media, like, vacation as well. What? I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. And I've used up, like, all of my lives just dying at the end of this jump. Like, I went over this jump the first time. Why is this such a problem for me now? Alright, well, that was not great, but it was better than just falling in the pit again, like I've done 17 times now. Yeah, and so, yeah, so Jess, so I'm going on a social media vacation as well. See, like, he's like, if you jump at the end of your super jump, it's gonna be awesome. And I'm like, alright, well, I'm jumping, but it's not being awesome. Adequate dragons. Anyway, yeah. So I will be off social media for the next 2 weeks or next week. I'm going on social media vacation starting after the stream. So I'll hang out for a little bit at the end of the stream, and then that's it. I gotta go on a social media vacation. No Twitter, no Facebook, no nothing. All right, screw it. I'm just going home. And, yeah. EPSXE in the NCX. Yeah. So I'll go on a social media vacation, and then I will be enjoying, like, reading books on my Kindle, and hanging out with my family, and doing nothing else, and it's gonna be awesome. Just a week. I'm just gone for a week. We're going up to the Mount Washington Resort, and I'm going to be there for a week. And my plan is to spend most of the time that I am there sitting on the back porch, enjoying the view of the presidential range, and reading books on my Kindle. So if you have books that you want to recommend, I do have a pinned tweet on my Twitter profile, which I will be checking before I go, and you can recommend books to me, and I will buy them on my Kindle, and so on and so forth. It will include IRC. Yeah, my plan is basically to not open my computer. I don't know how well it's going to work. I do have 1 or 2 more things I have to do on my computer before I bail. Because I've got to, like, I've got an expense report that got returned to me, and I have to do it before they cancel my credit card or whatever, so. Yes. I love that. I mean, so someone pointed out, apparently, so the back porch has a golf course behind it now, and so apparently it didn't used to have that golf course back, you know, 20 years ago before they redid everything up there. And so someone's like, yeah, I was there before they built that golf course. So I guess it used to be better, but I still think it's great, so that's fine. I mean, I am going to not do Isaac Daly's bread. That's my plan. There's a lot of things I do I have a lot of rituals that are based around, like, being on, like, listening to podcasts, or, like, watching the latest, fake Jose video on Vox, or, like, all these things that I do all the time, and I'm not going to be doing any of them, and it's going to be very strange, and I'm going to feel very out of the loop. But that is my plan, because I am driving myself fucking batty. Like, I am literally going, like, I am unable to work, I am unable to do anything other than sit and refresh Twitter 1,700 times a day, and it's making me unproductive at work, and it's making me unhappy at home, and it is achieving nothing. Like, I keep telling myself that it is for, you know, some greater good, but it's not. It's not for a greater good. It's not achieving anything. It's not helping anybody. All right. So yeah, so I think I got some video. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, so the place that I'm going is this one. No, I want, like, here we go. Yeah, so the place that I'm going, I think I have a Chrome button here, right? Chrome. So this is the hotel that I'm staying at. So this hotel is the Mount Washington Hotel. Mount Washington Resort Hotel is built in the 1910s, 1920s. It is the hotel that forms the basis for The Shining. So if you've ever read The Shining and thought, like, who has a big hotel that's, like, way in the middle of the mountains that you can't get to and that you have to ride a snowmobile away from, this is it. This is the hotel. It's originally built as a summer resort hotel for people coming up from Boston. So people who took the whole summer off would come up here and stay with their other rich muckety mucks in this hotel. But the view out the back is this one. So this is the back porch of the Mount Washington Hotel, and you can see the presidential range, which is a little bit covered in clouds here, but that's like Mount Adams and Mount Franklin, and Mount Washington's back behind there as well. And so this is a bad cell cam video of the area, and this is from kind of the you know, the back porch is over there, and there's a restaurant in the bottom, and there's a, like, speakeasy style bar at the bottom, and this is the back half of the resort hotel. Yeah, so I'll work and no Twitter. I mean, I think I'll work and no Twitter is, you know, a good thing. All Twitter and no work is the bad thing. So yeah, so this is the view I plan to enjoy. On the back deck, they will just, like, bring you beer, and you, like, sign a little piece of paper with your name on it, and they just keep bringing you more, and then later sometime that comes out of my bank account, but I can just sit there and drink beer and read books all day. This is my plan. Yeah, so that is my plan for my vacation, and I am so looking forward to it because I need to get off the freaking internet. All right, let's see if we can get sufficient dragons. Yeah, so if anybody wants to put in for I will get back on the internet on Monday or Friday, I will, like I said, probably be touching YouTube this weekend still, because it might, like, you know, vacation really doesn't, when you start your vacation, it doesn't really start until the day that you would go to work that you don't. But even that's going to be limited. Like, I want to not spend the next 2 days, because my brother's in town, and so I want to not spend the next 2 days constantly refreshing Twitter, constantly refreshing Facebook. Like, I have pulled out Twitter and Facebook at a freaking restaurant when I'm out with my friends recently. Like, I never did that. Like, it is so, like, even when I was, you know, a brand new cell phone person in 2000, whatever, like 2002, 2003, I didn't do that. Like, I don't do that. And so for me to do that, I think is actually like a sign that I need to step back and get back into a state where I can be more moderate. So, you like the metalhead boss level? Is that what I'm on? Is this the boss level? I don't even know. I know I'm gonna be short dragons because I need 40, I need 50. So I'm actually gonna have to go back maybe to treetops, or maybe I'll just go back to a different zone and pick up some more dragons. So yes, I tweeted from the altar. Yes, oh, YouTube is totally social media. I mean, it's absolutely a social media platform, especially since I use it primarily for like live stream stuff. Well, not primarily, but I use it for a lot of live stream stuff. It's definitely social media. I think that I would ask that people don't break into my room shouting "Here's Johnny." I mean, 45 minutes is not a bad plan. I think the reality is this weekend is going to be the transition, right? So I'm going to say I'm not going to be on social media, but I still am going to check Facebook and Twitter to get the book recommendations I've already got, which I got on Facebook and Twitter and haven't like bought like all the books yet, and I'm going to do other things like that. So I think it's totally fair to say like this weekend is going to be a shit show in this transition.
This big robot is all charged up to meet you. Attacking the power pole should disrupt its power supply.
Okay, attack the power poles. Got it. Yeah, so it seems like in this realm, I've only got like 3 more dragons anywhere, and 2 of them are in treetops. So I probably want to go someplace else to get my my final 3 dragons to move on to the next realm. But that's okay. I don't know where any secret areas are. I didn't forget anything. I just don't know. I will save game. Cool. Good job. Attacking the power pole. Oh god. Crap. Missed it. Oh god. Ah! Aha! Aha! Alright. Oh no, he's running away! Get back here! You think you can just run away from me? Oh, well, apparently you can. Good job! Ow! Yeah, so this weekend is going to be my transition mode. I am going to try to be off social media and actually spend time with my brothers who are coming in from out of town, and you know, do other stuff like that. Ow! Fell on top of me. Okay. Hey, look, all the little gems. Thank you. Ah. See you later, Leif. So games from older consoles. I mean, my favorite games are Super Mario Bros. 3, Mega Man 2 or 3. Both are great. I like them differently, but they're both solid. I really like from the N64 era. I have like nothing from there. Final Fantasy VII, excellent game. One of the better Final Fantasy games in my opinion. We've got let's see. I don't know how much else there is. Okay, so go back to the second. Go back to the second area and look down for a gate with a small opening and glide into it. back to the second area and look for a gate with a small opening and glide into it. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-dum. Take care, Jess. Hey, Stingray Gaming! Yeah, I don't care that much. There's no more dragons here, and I don't need the stones that much. Gems, whatever. Gemstones. Ah! Note to self, don't fail at jumping. Anyway, yeah. Oh, thinking. Just the 2 streams, that's right. I'll be back on the Monday after that. To the right? I don't care. I'm not a big, like, all the secret areas guy unless I need them. Yeah, you want me to go through that and not land in the green stuff? That's not gonna happen. Like, I know my skills. Oh, fine. I guess I can save state. Alrighty. So does that key get me like 1 chest, or does it let me like unlock all the chests in this like town or something? Ba-ba-da-ba. I am warm at the moment. My office is quite toasty. I don't know why. It hasn't been that hot out. I guess it's just, I don't know. It's been muggy the past few days, which is not really common for, well, I don't know if it's common for Boston. It feels uncommon, but maybe it's not. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm all sticky and sweaty. Alright, take that. Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I have been basically like counting down the days for weeks at this point. So I am 100% looking forward to it. Like I said, both my brothers are coming from out of town. We've been planning this since like last Christmas. It was Jess's Christmas present to my family. Is like we said, okay, we're all gonna do a vacation together and we're gonna, you know, fly out and everything else like that. I missed that. God damn it. Alright, well, I'm not gonna go all the way around for those 5 gems. Somewhere there's like a locked chest that I must have walked by and don't remember. This is not in this level, maybe. Do I keep the key across levels? Who knows? Who knows? Not me. Ah, okay. Behind the slime waterfall. There's always something behind the waterfall. Oh, so Brad, if I drink them slowly, I can drink plenty of beers. So it's only when I drink quickly that I can only last for 2 beers. If I drink slowly, it's fine. Okay, so there's a slime waterfall somewhere over there. I don't know how the hell you're supposed to figure out that this is something you can go through. Oh, especially because it isn't. Is there another slime waterfall that doesn't just bounce you off of it? Okay, so I have to go around the waterfall. Somebody poison the waterfall. Oh, there's nothing behind here either. I'm confused. Go up the stairs. No, there's no stairs. Oh, these stairs. Okay. Oh. I'm like, I can't go through the waterfall. And it's true, I can't. But... Alright. So this is gonna give me... Okay, it gives me at least some gems. That was worth a little bit. Especially because I will actually need, I think, 6,000 gems to clear the next balloonist after this one, so... How the heck am I supposed to... Like, is it supposed to be, like, I hit these things and then jump into them? Because I am terrible at that. Yeah, I'm a little bit so anybody want to argue about YouTube's new ad stuff? I'm like itching for a fight here. So if you wanna fight me, I will fight you in real life. Gran Turismo was another game I liked on the PlayStation. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, 2, and 3 were all good. That's out. I want to go back in. Let's go towards the exit. Hello, So Louise. Hope you're feeling better than you were last time you were here. Yeah. So I think it's gonna be. It'll be interesting. Okay. So, long story short, because I was talking about this for a while later, so we'll skip all the how we got here. But the practicalities of where we're at now. Where we're at now is that YouTube has 3 states a video can be in for the purposes of advertisers. Yes, I know. I will do that for you later. First, I'm going to go here. So one is your video is fully monetized, right? Like everyone who advertises on YouTube may show up on your video. There's no restrictions, blah, blah, blah. And in general, you're going to make like $1 per 1,000 views in that situation. Okay, I have every dragon in Artisans, and therefore this was a dumb idea. Let's see if I can find the balloonist and get out of here as quickly as possible. And so the next one, and the one that existed before was... you know, no ads at all. So you would not be able to get any advertising placements. You would get YouTube Red money, but you wouldn't get any kind of advertising placements, period. And so YouTube, back in May, introduced a new system, which was a slightly different. It was this kind of gray list of videos which were maybe acceptable for advertisers and maybe weren't. And so rather than blocking them entirely, YouTube said, okay, we'll let the advertisers opt in. So advertisers get to choose whether they want to be advertising on videos that are in this in-between class or not. And so YouTube implemented that system. And the problem is that for the first 5 months, like since May, they haven't told anyone it exists. Like it is, advertisers who are savvy, or creators who are savvy have heard about it because, you know, things happen through the grapevine and the YouTube subreddit knew about it and everything else like that, but they didn't tell anybody about it. So recently, YouTube finally said, hey, by the way, that mode that you all knew existed, okay, it exists, and we would like to, allow you to appeal those decisions, because some of them are wrong, because it's just this like in-between gray state that is you know, not targeted at being perfect. And so we know it's going to be wrong in the same way that you can appeal videos that are like not available for any advertisers. So you can appeal these videos. Great, right? The problem is that they've had the system for forever, or for, you know, since May, and it applies to way more videos. Like based on the numbers that I'm seeing, I think it probably applies to like 10% of videos, which is a lot. Like 10% of videos is a lot. Like that means that, you know, there are 20 million videos on the homepage every day that are affected. There are 200 million videos in total that probably are affected across YouTube. What I'm looking for is more dragons, the YouTuber. I need 3 more dragons to unlock the balloonist, so I'm going back to old levels to find the dragons that I missed. So there's one dragon, and let's see if I can find another dragon. Ow. And so now that they have these 3 states, people are getting all upset, and so unfortunately, because this is like 200 million videos, right? Like they can't just let everyone who has a video appeal, because it just doesn't, like, it's not financially practical, right? Like if your video is going to get 3 views, like it is not practical for YouTube to allow an appeal of that, because 3 views isn't going to pay for that appealer to do their job. Like financially speaking, it's not impossible. Like yes, Google has a lot of money, blah blah blah, but it's impractical. And so people are very upset because, as usual, everyone's like, well, you have $70 billion. Why don't you just spend it all on reviewers? And because, like, it feels like an attack, right? Like, you've got the system that flags things, and it's wrong half the time. And so people are like, well, like, why are you attacking me? And the reality is that we're attacking a lot of videos that are wrong. But, you know, we tend to fail to accept when we are wrong and state it publicly, and so people get upset. Okay, so I need to know how to get up there, because I'm pretty sure that's where the other dragon is. Yeah, so how do I get to that dragon? How do I get to here? I have no idea how to do any of this. What is this madness? Is there like some super jump somewhere I'm missing? And so yeah, so a bunch of videos that are practically speaking perfectly acceptable under the advertiser-friendly guidelines are being treated as like only accessible to advertisers who opt in to a more sensitive ad setting, and therefore will receive fewer ads until they're appealed, and they can't be appealed because they have very few views. And the reality is that the vast majority of YouTube creators have very few views on their videos, right? Because that's just the way long tails work. It is, you know, unsurprising that the majority of creators have very few views on their videos. So the creators are upset, but they're unwilling to engage in... Alright, can I like... Got it. Got him! So I'm willing to engage meaningfully in a discussion of like, okay, well, how should this be handled? Or like, how can we make this better? You know, our responses, because creator support can't be trained to like do the appeals, our responses when you ask them like, why is my video not monetized, is basically just to copy paste the you know, the advertiser friendly guidelines, which are not like unreasonable, but in the cases where the algorithm has fucked up are unhelpful, because like if the algorithm is fucked up, then there's nothing you can say about why is this video not acceptable. It's just not acceptable because of a mistake, but because YouTube won't ever admit mistakes, you run into this shitty situation. And so yeah, so you've got creators who are rightly and correctly upset because they're losing a small amount of money, but the amount of money has to be small, right? Like they have to be making, like to not be able to appeal, you have to be making less than $1 a week on a video. And yeah, you can have 20 videos or something doing that and be sad that you're losing out on $800 or $80 a month or something, but it's not, you know, that. In my stream, Van Helsing? Jess has a really bad cough, so it might be that. Unless it's like your niece who's loud shrieking, in which case it wasn't me. But I'm just upset because people are like, oh, you should totally like let me appeal my video that has like 6 views in the last 26 months. And I'm like, no, you're not producing value. You're not producing like content that is generating revenue for you or YouTube. Like, you don't get like everything. Okay, well, it was not me in that case. I guess that's obvious. Okay, so somewhere in the homeland we've got a dragon as well. So let's see if we can find that. Go to any place that we see gems and see if we can find that. There's Dr. Shemp. We don't need to go in there. We've already got all the dragons. Free life, free life. Everyone loves a free life. Yeah, exactly. And so, people are like, oh, I'm gonna move to a different platform. Like, I'm gonna move to a platform that allows a monetization of everything. And the reality is that there are no platforms like that. There are no platforms that have open monetization of all content for all comers, because if you do, you get into the exact same problem that YouTube has. Like, no advertiser wants to be on your site if you'll just allow any rando out there to upload content to it and monetize it, because then what you have is exactly the same problem. You have Islamic extremists who are monetizing their content. You've got, you know, asshole men's rights activists. You've got Alex Jones out there monetizing his content on your platform. Not that YouTube completely demonetizes Alex Jones, but that's a different story. And you know, like, so you have this problem. So there's nothing special that makes YouTube like especially good or bad here, except that YouTube has a monetization program that anyone can use. And because it is the only platform that has that property, okay. I was trying to figure out if that is like actually goop that I can't swim in, and it is, so that's good to know. So with it being the only one that has that property, like on Twitch, you have to be a partner, so you have to be in the top 1%. On VidMe, you have to be in their monetization beta program, which means you have to attract the attention of someone who has the power to put you in it. On Mixer, there is no monetization unless you're in the partner program, so you have to be fairly popular. Like, all of these other sources for uploading your videos, even if they were as good at YouTube at everything else, which mostly they're not, otherwise you wouldn't be on YouTube in the first place, is going to have the same problem. You're not able to access monetization by default because it's too risky for them. So they all have a manual review process. And so for people to be like, I am leaving, I'm going to leave YouTube, which has, you know, doesn't allow me to monetize some portion of my 22 cents of content, and go to another platform. Like, they're still allowing me to monetize the vast majority of it, but that last 30%, 20%, 10%, whatever, like, that's enough to make me leave and go to another site. And like, if it is, fine, but don't, like, it can't be based on money. And for you to come to me and say like, hey, I've decided to switch to another platform based on money, when the other platform isn't going to give you any money, is silly. And if you're gonna come to me and tell me, well, it's not about the money, it's about the principle, it's like, well, okay, but you're going to another site where the principle can't apply because they don't have an open monetization program. Like, that's, I don't even know what the comparable is there, but it's not like a sane comparison to anything else, because it's not an option. Like, you can't, it's comparing apples and oranges. Like, yes, other platforms don't demonetize you because they don't allow you to monetize at all, but that's not an improvement. Like, that's like a strict regression. And I just don't understand the people who are like, yeah, like, I'm gonna stick it to YouTube, I'm gonna go and put my content on another website, I'm going to, you know, expose or, you know, make them suffer or whatever else like that. It's like, no, one, you're not. Like, YouTube doesn't care about your 22 cents. They can't, like, it's just a financial decision. They cannot afford to care about your 22 cents if it's only going to produce, like, if it's going to take them, you know, $10 in order to do that. Like, should we have better algorithms? Absolutely. Like, I would love that, and I'm sure that now that we have an appeal process, maybe we'll actually get some training data that's, or, you know, not even training data, but just some data that suggests that what we're doing isn't good enough, which would be great. Like, hopefully we can then figure out what we're screwing up and fix it for all creators. Like, hopefully we can make improvements that will, like, bring a better result for all creators. But until then, like, you know, we've spent a lot of money attempting to create training data and build a model that does the best we can, and yeah, it's not perfect, but nothing is. And I don't know how you fix that without rolling a system out and getting appeals in place. Like, that's the approach that you would use on this particular type of machine learning related problem. So, yeah. Hello, Alexander Fox. How's it going? Am I gonna make this? Oh, wow. Did not think that was gonna work. So yeah, so today I've seen some people who are like, YouTube is ending, like they're absolutely destroying their small creators, blah, 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 like no one can ever grow to be a big creator without getting money, which of course is bullshit, because many of the big creators we have now grew without a monetization program existing at all, because they grew up on YouTube before monetization was a thing that YouTube had. But, you know, reality and dogma are not strongly related. But yeah, so the VR market, I think VR is going to be a niche entertainment and informational technology for a long time yet. I think that it is going to be a source for like theme parks and other things like that to do interesting things, but it is not going to be something that we see in the medium term become popular for home use. It's going to definitely be a niche entertainment product rather than a default one, despite the beliefs of many people to the contrary. YouTube's efforts in VR, I think, would be better spent investing in HDR and 8K video and other things like that. I guess VR is pushing the 8K video thing at least a little, because you have to have higher resolution when you're giving up a lot of your bits just to, you know, for all of the bits that are behind you in a scene. And so they are pushing some of that, but...
Incredible glide, Spyro. I thought I'd be stuck here forever with those ugly vultures standing on my head. Those birds might look tough, but they're pretty tasty. Flame broiled.
Yeah. Okay, I need one more dragon. Oh, and I got a lock thing. Cool. Where does that go? Oh crap! I'm landing in water. I didn't see the water. Hello, Limmy Games. Hello. Yeah. So people who are looking at this from people are looking at the ad situation and being like, I don't understand how YouTube can dare not give me. Also, people who think who are like, oh, I'm losing $2, like YouTube hates me. I'm like, dude, fuck off. Like, I lost $1,700 in ad revenue to YouTube allowing assholes to claim my content via Content ID. Like, and you're gonna sit here and tell me I don't have the moral high ground to tell you to shut up and deal? Like, how about we just don't give people advertising anymore? How about we only allow advertising on the top 10% of channels and let everyone else suffer? Like, the reality is that YouTube's YouTube allowing monetization on small content creators is certainly an understandable way that we attract small content creators to become big content creators, and it is absolutely imperative, but it is absolutely not the case that it is the default on anything else out there. And so to act all put upon because we can't provide the end-all be-all of everything gets advertising all the time, because advertisers don't want to be on it. Not like we care about it personally. Like, we have no compunctions about putting content on our platform that we drastically disagree with. You know, Holocaust denial videos live perfectly happily on YouTube. So, like, we're not taking sides here. We're not being, you know, like assholes for the sake of being assholes. We are required to because the advertisers don't want to be on that content, and when we put them on that content, they told us they were going to pull hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising revenue. Like, that's not a thing that we have the power to fix. Ice Cavern has one more dragon. I don't know if I want to go through this whole level with 5 dragons just to find one. I don't remember which level this is, though, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, yeah, so people just don't, like, people have this entitlement complex that is ridiculous, and it just drives me batty. It just drives me totally batty, the entitlement complex that people have about content on YouTube. Like, you get a bunch of shit for free. You get free hosting, like, you get free, you know, all of this stuff, and we allow you to host a whole bunch of shit, and it's not like personal opinions, it's not anything else like that. Like, we would love to get paid for shit, but we have to convince advertisers that they want to pay for shit, and if that's the case, I don't know, like, if that's not the case, then I don't know what we can do. And should we have a better algorithm for, you know, flagging these things? Sure. But I also realized that, like, no algorithm is going to be perfect, and had we waited to build a better algorithm, like, these videos have been demonetized for months. And so, like, had we waited to build a better algorithm, you would be seeing, you know, yeah, less of these flags, but overall you would have been seeing them in, like, later. And so you wouldn't have seen it, but your video would have been, like, you would have received less advertising revenue from your video. And so, like, is getting more advertising revenue, but having to go through this process, better or worse? Like, it's not like these videos weren't already in the state that they're in now. We're exposing this thing to you, so. all the YouTubes you get, videos, comments you could ever want, that's right. Actually, I don't get that many. I would love more YouTube comments. They make me feel all happy, like people care about me. And then I realize they're just telling me that I should get my teeth fixed or that I need a haircut, both of which are true, but neither of which I need to hear from YouTube commenters. So, I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'm just gonna get out of here. I don't... Oh, maybe up there. Seems like a reasonable thing. No, mild instances of language don't get, like, videos or channels demonetized. I actually did get a haircut today. I look a little bit more dapper than usual, like, you know, your average neo-Nazi. Just call me the Richard Spencer of YouTube gaming. Yeah, see, I got less hair now. Which I know most of you aren't used to seeing the top of my head, so you don't know how it looks normally, but normally it has more hair than that. Ugh. How's my voice-to-game audio, like, are you all able... I assume that if you could not hear me well, you would have complained at some point in the past, like, hour that I have been streaming, but... I don't think I have any gray hair, I'm just more bald. I don't think I've got any grays yet, but audio's pretty ideal. Okay. Oh god, get away from me. Stupid. Oh god, ski riding, dude. Cool. Oh god! Get off here. There we go. Ooh. Barely dodged that snowball. Damn it. Yeah, I mean, part of this is that you're seeing me in tiny mode, right? So, if I put myself in bigger picture mode, you can see that I probably look a little bit different. Yeah, so I got really kind of light stuff here. That might have been what you thought was gray, but mostly I'm just like missing the stuff on the top. Lumi, did you get a strike or did you lose access to monetize? Like, people say strike and oftentimes aren't fully clear on what they mean. So what did you actually do? Like, the answers are very simple. If you got a community guideline strike, then you should appeal it. If you got a, although if you got a community guideline strike around, like, harassment, that's usually assigned by a human and not automation, and therefore is unlikely to be overturned, although not impossible. It definitely happens. Alright, let's use my... Oh, I got a key. Did my key go away when I died? I don't know how that works. Yeah, I mean, so if you got a community guideline strike and you don't believe the community guideline strike is correct, then you should appeal it. There's an appeal form on the features page in your channel that shows how to appeal it. If you got a strike for bullying and intimidation, then you probably did a, like, your content violated YouTube's rules on bullying and intimidation, which are designed to prevent you from, you know, personal attacks on other people. So I don't know what you made, I don't know what a diss track is, but presumably the YouTube reviewer who looked at it said this is, you know, attacking someone and is in violation of the terms of service. Oh god! Shit. Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you, disguise falling. And now like 4 other people will tell me in the next 12 seconds. But almost there. Hello, write your own song. Yes, I have very few hairs in general. That is true. Okay, well, I don't know who you were saying shit about, but saying shit about other individuals is generally not a supported aspect of using YouTube. That would be a violation of YouTube's community guidelines on bullying and intimidation. So, sounds to me like all is working as intended here. YouTube as a platform does not allow people to create, you know, or espouse positions of hate, or bullying or other things like that. Our implementation and like solutions to these things are not always perfect. More context can oftentimes be good. If the person who was, you know, being dissed is included in the video, that can be, you know, beneficial as far as like, you know, oh, you know, it's for play instead, but okay, so I saw a freaking dragon somewhere. Where did it go? Oh, I was charging. How did you not get hit by my charge? Okay. I mean, again, like you're dealing. So the common example, which is given by many people, is like, you know, okay, so you got caught speeding. If the cop pulls you over and says you were speeding, your response can't be other people were speeding too. Like, that's not a defense. You still did something wrong. The fact that you got caught, or you are on one side of the line and they're on another side of it, does not mean that you were in the right. It means that they were also in the wrong and didn't get caught. You know, or the cops didn't select them, you know, in this case, the cops being YouTube's policy team. Like, you don't have some kind of moral, you know, option to say like, oh, look, other people are doing it and therefore I can too. That's not how it works. So there may be a lot of reasons why it applies to one person over another. It could be that one person offers more context, makes it more newsworthy. It could be all types of different things. And it could also just be that no one's reported it yet. You know, YouTube is not, like, YouTube acts based on the reports they receive, and they don't police every piece of content coming back to the 500 hour, 400 hours of video uploaded every minute number. Like, it's impossible for them to. I mean, it has nothing to do with how many subs, or it has very little to do with how many subs you have. If you have, like, more than 1 million subs, technically you do go into a slightly different review queue to make sure that the, like, things are handled correctly or whatever. But generally speaking, it makes no difference, like, which, like, how many subs you have or anything else like that. Like, it matters that you broke the rules. And the fact that someone bigger didn't quite break the rules doesn't mean that, like, you have a moral high ground here. Okay. I think I'm making progress. I think I got the 50 dragons I need. I don't have to go back to treetops. And my gem collection is looking pretty good as well. I need 6,000 gems, I believe, for the next level after this. And so, as I go through, I believe that I'll have enough. So let's do that. Get over to the thing. No, anything that's age-restricted isn't monetized. Age-restricted is explicitly non-monetizable. Things that can't be monetized at all are things that violate, like, things that violate AdSense policy. So anything selling guns can't be monetized. Anything that's age-restricted can't be monetized. Anything that is... There's, like, a couple other categories, like pharmaceuticals have weird rules around, like, pharmaceutical sales that have weird rules around them. A couple other things like that. Other than that, mostly you'll end up with the no ability to limited ads, or limited or no ads. So limited or no ads will allow you to continue making money off of YouTube Red, but not make money directly off of the, like, advertising. So that's the in-between on, like, if you're not violating YouTube's policies or AdSense policies, then you can get that, and your video can be in that state. How are you supposed to get that red thing? Alright, whatever. Go to Dreamweavers. Yeah, so, I mean, people always like, I bet Keemstar's still monetized, and the reality is that Keemstar's had a long time to figure out exactly how to walk the line, you know? I think he actually got, like, suspended or something before. I don't know. I don't understand that whole, like, set of drama monger YouTubers, but, you know, like, the people who've been at this for a while, they figured out how to walk the line. And they figured out, like, where the line is, and they're big enough that they have partner managers they can ask, and who, you know, have information that they can share with them about how the rules work, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I saw, I don't know, Preston. I honestly don't. The advertising space is so weird. It is one of these things where, like, there's a lot of people who are seeing that ad right now and are getting very, like, cranky because it's like, what, YouTube, we're not allowed to do X, but you're allowed to show, you know, condom ads or whatever? And I'm like, you know what? Like, one, the reality is that, you know, if you pay YouTube $1 million, they're gonna look at it with a person. So if you want to pay YouTube $1 million to get views on your video, you could also get your video looked at by YouTube. You thought you loved me before, Spyro, and now you want to spin my hat with your tongue. I love you too, Corey. It's good to see you. Yeah, I mean, again, like, it's also just the case that, like, Keemstar has had a lot of practice on knowing exactly how to walk along the line of the rules.
The enemies here can be quite frightening, but you should watch the fool.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, ugh, I should probably, like, talk to somebody about this. Although I'm done. I'm not working for a week. I'm really on vacation. I'm gonna take a break from social media starting after this stream. I'm not going to read Reddit. I'm not going to respond on Twitter. I'm not opening my work email except to finish filing my expense report that I should have filed a month ago. Like, I am not, 2 months ago, I guess. I am not doing anything else for work. I set my vacation responder at like 5:30 today, and that was it. So I want to spin your hat with my tongue. No, I still gain, like, I still gain a lot of good things from Reddit. Like, not good for me personally, but good for gaining credibility with YouTube stuff, right? Like, I am now the unofficial, frankly, I am now the official person who posts to Reddit on and to talks to users on behalf of like several of our like what are they called? Product specialists. So like when they need information about a bug, they ask me to post. I've like found, you know, 4 P1 bugs in the last 4 months because I read Reddit. Like I realized that it like has impacts on my mental health, but it is really a benefit to YouTube that I gain something from as well.
Thank you for releasing me.
Now what I should do, Brad, is that I should just pick like Reddit posts and read them during the stream. Like I should really just like, hold on, let me move Spyro here. There we go. Yeah, YouTuber for 11 years to have 300 videos and 1 million views automatically taken down. Completely eradicated from the search results. Completely killing my channel. Videos that have no audio in it. Like, I have no idea what this guy is talking about. Like, also, alert the police. Like, also, like, a video of some girls putting masking tape on me. Like, I don't even know if that's appropriate for YouTube or whatever, but that is not, you know, like, super kosher. Like, YouTube is ruining themselves. In those days, people were doing YouTube as a hobby and just for fun. No one would think about that you could make so much money from just a small hobby. Now 90% of all videos are getting demonetized and everyone is freaking out. People that made their hobby to a job gonna switch from YouTube very fast if this won't change in the next weeks, months. Like, to what? What are they going to switch to? There is nothing else. Like... it is really an interesting place. I learn a lot from it, right? So like I have been able, like right now, Preston, the issue that you brought up with the videos that like they get an email saying like everything is fine and then the video manager says it's still broken. Like that's something that I picked up directly from Reddit. And without Reddit, I wouldn't have known it was happening, and without Reddit, like the developer teams wouldn't have had as much information about it. But you can do Patreon on YouTube. You don't need to go someplace else. Like, if you don't care about ads, then you can stay on YouTube. And if you do care about ads, you can't go to Patreon or VidMe, because VidMe doesn't give ads to everybody in the same way that YouTube didn't used to give ads to everybody. It's a manual review process. So there is not other places that you can go that are open monetization policies. Now, if you've got enough views, yeah, sure. Like, you can have things that, you know, you can do or whatever, and that you can go to VidMe and so on and so forth. But if that's the case, you can probably also get your videos reviewed on YouTube. And so it doesn't make sense to say, like, I'm gonna go to VidMe. Like, it's not helping you. So yeah, like, run a Patreon, great. Like, don't get all of your money from programmatic advertising on YouTube. That is absolutely great advice. I am a strong supporter of that. But you can't make your answer like, I'm going to go to some other platform that also doesn't have support for open monetization.
You know, I think you...
So, like, if that's your goal, that doesn't work. Using affiliate codes is fine too. Like, I got no problem with that. I use affiliate links in my videos. I use them on whatever. I mean, like, like AdFly is a little bit different, you know, shit that's gonna direct you through a bunch of like garbage malware garbaginess is different, but like using Amazon affiliate links in your description is something that I think is a totally reasonable thing to do, and I have seen no evidence that suggests that YouTube considers just using affiliate links to be a problem or a bug or whatever. I've seen lots of people who say you can't do that, even, you know, TCs and other things like that who say that you can't do that, but I am not aware of that being a problem. Why can I not, like, how, I can't bash you and I can't flame you. Vimeo is, well, so Vimeo does not have ads. Again, if your response is, I'm going to a website that doesn't have ads, just turn off ads on YouTube. Like, you're not losing anything, like, except for an audience. You know, Vimeo's audience is explicitly targeted at targeting the filmmaker and creator, not targeting the you know, not targeting the viewer. You're supposed to be on Vimeo because you're a filmmaker looking to share your video with other filmmakers. Hello, Kwame. Hello, Psycho Mike. Like, you know, YouTube is about, I want to be on the platform where all the users are. So Vimeo doesn't have a great discovery mechanism. Vimeo doesn't have a way of monetizing. And if you don't want to monetize, then what is your problem with YouTube? Like, your problem is that they won't let you make videos that allow you to abuse other people if you're not doing it in a way that you can get away with. Your problem is that, you know, YouTube, you know, spends too much time fighting Islamic extremism in the world. Your problem is that YouTube attempts to have a program where at least some people can monetize their content. Like, Vimeo is like, what is the question to which Vimeo is the answer, I guess, is the question I'm really asking, because I can't think of a single one. And I realized the System Freeze was probably joking. But I've heard it before, and the reality is that YouTube is, in some senses, a monopoly if you define your you know, sections narrowly enough, right? If you look at other platforms that allow open monetization programs with no, you know, significant requirements other than 10,000 views. I mean, so I actually don't know the algorithm is unfair. I know the algorithm is often wrong. And so that's another thing that people are oftentimes confused by, is that they say something is unfair when what they mean is it isn't right. And I think that, like, there are such things as unfair algorithms, but I'm not convinced that the algorithm that we have is unfair rather than just wrong. And that's where I think, and I know, again, like, people are saying things and I respond to them because, not because I believe that Stingray thinks the algorithm is unfair, but because I believe that Stingray has heard people saying the algorithm is unfair. And so a thing which is unfair to some extent, unfair but a wise business decision, is that only people with more than 1,000 views in the past 7 days can appeal. That is unfair. Hey, thanks for subscribing. Why didn't that make noise? I don't know why it didn't make noise, or why I didn't hear it. Maybe I turned off OBS sounds. Aha! OBS is very quiet. OBS slightly loud. And so, like, I think that is unfair. That is an unfortunate side effect of a financial business decision that not every user is treated fairly. It's not a first-come, first-served system. It's a more views is quicker / able to be reviewed, and that sucks. And I hope that as YouTube goes through a backlog, remember, they probably put 200 million videos into the state in the past little bit. My hope is that YouTube will find ways to lower that limit. When I was testing it, it was 1,000 views in the last...
Fairies are always on your side, Spyro.
Oh, I just figured something out. I am sorry. I did not... like, everything just made more sense. I was having trouble last time because I could not figure out what I had changed that caused my game volume to be so low, and like VLC and everything else like that. And I realize now that the OBS volume slider impacts that. So I apologize for that. Now hopefully I am back to normal-ish. So if I continue to be sound-ish now, I'm sorry, Danielle. And everybody else whose ears I hurt, and everyone wearing headphones, and everything else. I apologize. That's right. I'm not only not advertiser friendly, I'm not even user friendly. I'm just like, you guys want to listen to shit? Like, screw you. That's my opinion. Yeah, so I didn't realize that. So I think what happens is that OBS has a slider for volume, and when you apply the slider for volume, the boost, like the filter, like I had a gain boost on my volume input, and turning it down, turning the OBS volume down caused the impact of that gain boost to go down, and so I turned it way up last time because I was having all these audio problems and did not realize that it was because my OBS volume had been turned down to 1. So. I apologize. I mean, so the reality that I've seen so far, Disguise Falling, is pretty much everyone who is appealing, like, everyone who I've seen complain, like, hey, it's kind of silly that this video is demonetized, the result after appeal has been, it is remonetized, right? So I have seen like 1 or 2 cases where it's not, and it's like a user was complaining because, you know, this video didn't get remonetized after appeal, and like I looked at it and like 80% of the video is of someone wandering around as like a naked sim. And yeah, The Sims blocks out nudity. Like, I realize that it's blocked out nudity, it's not like actually a nude person, whatever, but the entire thing is just them following around this naked sim, and then they're like, I don't understand how advertisers could possibly not, you know, think my content was advertiser friendly, and I'm like, I just think that you're taking too narrow of a view, or you haven't watched this video, right? Because it was demonetized, you know, 2 years after you released it, and you didn't actually look at it again. You just appealed because you read the title, and it was a fine-looking title, but on appeal, like, humans look at it and say, yeah, that's crappy. I think it's illiteracy, Mark. There is no... I don't think there's an in-joke about demonized. I think it's just, like, people can't spell. Oh, okay, Modern Retro. Well, so, and like, even cursing isn't actually considered ad unfriendly by YouTube most of the time, right? So, like, my video that is titled, like, fuck Nazis, yes. Advertiser unfriendly, like, if I asked for a review, I would expect it to maintain its state as advertiser unfriendly. It's only got, like, 100 views, so I'm not even gonna bother trying. And so, like, but it also doesn't matter because even if it got reviewed, like, what, I would get, like, another 12 cents out of it in its entire lifetime? Like, who cares? But yeah, so, like... yeah, it's also the case that, like, you're upset that you can't... You're getting demonetized rather than getting a copyright claim. Anyway,
Spyro, thanks.
Supercharged, blah, blah, blah. Go away, I don't care. I just want my gems. Yeah, exactly, Danielle. Like, I think that fuck Nazis is not an advertiser friendly title, so I don't like that would not be monetized. Period. Oh shit. Oh, okay. Oh, damn it. Fuck. So yeah, like videos about not now, like Nazis, you know, pro-Nazi protests in Charlottesville. Like, there's context there that would make that well, that would fall against the sensational guidelines, right? Like, you cannot make money off of sensational events, whether it's 9/11 or like Heather Heyer's, you know, being run down by a car or anything else like that. Like, YouTube's policy is we don't want people to make money off of these events, and therefore they're just not monetizable. But I think it's just achievement progression. But it also kind of leads you through the level, like, as you follow they do give you hints about, like, how to do things, and so, like, in this case, they're like, oh, you know, use the super jump to do the whatever, and that's helpful. I mean, the problem, Dojo, is that we're living in a Nazi world, and I am a Nazi girl. Oh, wait, no, that's a material world. And we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. But yeah, I don't know. The people who get all you know, panties in a twist over what they describe, like self-described 22 cents in ad revenue, over what they describe as an unfair system, when it's really just a shitty system. It's not unfair. It's just crappy. Is like, just be quiet. Like, go to your home. I don't need it. I don't need you. I don't need it. I'm done. I'm just done with it.
Thank you for releasing me.
Well, so, I mean, the reality, Neon, is that as a YouTube creator, I do earn the money, right? Like, as a YouTube creator on this platform, I spend, you know, like, Dojo spends dozens of hours per week streaming on the platform. I spend, you know, a dozen hours per week streaming and preparing and doing other things like that on this platform. Brad spends dozens of hours per week streaming on this platform. We have and there's a social contract that YouTube has engaged in, which says that, you know, we pay creators in this way that is kind of not explicit, not contractual, but understood about how things work. And so when you change the rules of that game, I think that people have every right to be upset. They have every right to be angry that the rules changed and they didn't, you know, and they didn't get a say in it. It sucks. But the reality is that the rules change because advertisers force them to change. The rules change because advertisers don't understand programmatic advertising. The rules change because we live in a world where advertisers are setting the policies, and YouTube is not desiring to do that. We don't want to limit the number of ads we serve. We don't want to limit the amount of money that creators make. Like, every dollar that you don't make is a dollar that we don't make. Well, it's 90 cents that we don't make. We want that to be, like good, but when advertisers are pissed, they don't advertise. Like, Verizon stayed off of YouTube from March until this week, until they built up an entire, like, brand safety unit within the company so that they could figure out how to advertise safely on YouTube. And so that's money that no one got. If YouTube had had a good brand safety program in place prior to Verizon jumping off the platform, then creators would have made millions more dollars, and YouTube would have too. Our incentives are aligned here. The fact that we don't have enough time or effort or energy to make a perfect system is because making a perfect system is really hard, and we've got a lot of work to do to figure it out. Yeah, and this is why, you know, YouTube creators generally report that, successful YouTube creators generally report that between 20 and 50% of their revenue comes from YouTube, and the rest comes from other sources, right? Like, the reality is that, like, successful YouTube creators realize that programmatic advertising is a risky business to be in. It is difficult for YouTube to be doing that, so that's why you have sponsorships and brand deals, and that's why you have merchandise stores, and that's why you have, you know, Patreon and sponsorships and other things like that YouTube is working on. It's why you have Super Chat and donations. All of these things are like crucial to creating an effective creator monetization ecosystem that allows for creators to make money, no matter, like, continue to make money, not just at the whims of a small number of advertisers. And you see this as well with, you know, TV shows, right? Like, people have been kicked off the air on network TV because advertisers all got attacked for, you know, sponsoring Hannity. or other things like that. I think he's still on the air, but you know, you get my point. So. Well, so I think that there's a point at which, like, yes, you should not feel entitled, but there's also a point at which you should look at this as like just a business decision that has to be made and say, like, is this the right thing for me? Mostly I look at it and I get upset at the people who just their eyes are so shut that they don't realize that YouTube is better than anything else out there. No, that's not true at all, ArcDK. There is tons of content on recommended and trending and everything else like that that is advertiser unfriendly. I saw that go by in the YouTube like subreddit today, and I have no idea where that's coming from. The recommendation system doesn't even know if your content is recommended. The only things that I think would be possibly not included in recommended is the like Islamic or like, you know, extremist content. They were working on kind of the stuff that we put behind a like click through to see the content box probably isn't in recommended, but that would be it. I mean, there's lots of, just to be clear, Danielle, there's no reason that small YouTubers are more or less likely to be demonetized. And this particular stream is likely, you know, fully monetized because YouTube hasn't had YouTube has no video metadata that tells how terrible it is yet. No, I mean, because it's not really, as far as I know, violating YouTube's content policies. You know, I'm offering commentary on Nazis, but I'm doing it with context. I'm offering commentary on YouTube's policies and swearing slightly, but not excessively. All of these things are just like the way you do content programming. Yeah, there's also a difference between like not configured to have ads and not not allowed to be monetized, right? So like those are two different states. Like YouTube knows that you haven't selected monetization, but if you did, your content might be monetized or not monetized. So Game Dojo, I think that advertisers feel the same way, that it makes no sense. And that is why we are in the situation we're in, where it's this constant battle back and forth. Like constantly advertisers are saying yes, and then no. Users are saying please, and YouTube is saying please. Like the fact that it works at all is absolutely like insane. I think it just comes from the fact that YouTube just has such a broad reach, and advertisers, like, there's just not a lot of other content out there that video content that advertisers can advertise on, right? Like there's nothing else that does true view, like billions, you know, of true view views per day. Like if the average video watch length is like, you know, 5 minutes, that means that people are watching, I don't know, 12 billion videos a day. That's a crazy amount that it's very difficult to imagine coming from anywhere else. Well, I mean, the other thing about Twitch is that if you go to Twitch, your videos aren't monetizable anyway unless you're in the top 1%, right? So Twitch doesn't allow monetization unless you're a partner, and becoming a partner means you're in the top 1% of Twitch creators, which is hard for most people to get. I would not be in the top 1% of Twitch creators ever in my life. Like I will never ever reach that level, and therefore it is not something, like, I would never make money from ads. Like, even though they do have the affiliate program now, the affiliate program does not allow you, at least the last I checked, I could be wrong, to monetize at least VOD content. So yeah, I mean, I think that's true. I think that, like, views are on Facebook are different than views on YouTube. Like, even if YouTube considered a view to be 3 seconds, which I don't believe it does, like, it would not be the case that that would be the average length of time that a YouTube view would be. I think that's not true, Dojo. I think there's a lot of people who have built reasonable businesses out of YouTube advertising, right? They figured out how to make advertiser-friendly content. They figured out how to make it cheaply, and they figured out how to go with it. Like, I think it's reasonable to say that, but it also means that you are at the whims of third parties. Like, you know, you don't have to necessarily be looking to make as much money. You have to be, but if you're not going to do that, if you're not going to make, you know, unique content that brands want to advertise on directly, then you have to be prepared for the idea that at some point someone can come in and screw you, and like, because an advertiser can come in and screw you the same way that they would screw Hannity or you know, get Kathy Lee Griffin, as I call her, kicked off the air. Like, these are things that can happen. So I have to get 6,000 gems before I can get to the next level. So I'm looking to collect most of the gems that I can. So I need like another 600 gems, and so yeah. I'm sorry, Jose. So YouTube Red is based on watch time rather than views, and YouTube Red is worth about 5 cents per watch hour. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but ever since like the second month of it existing, that's been about what it's been worth. Fuck, I hit the wrong button. I mean, 6,000 isn't that bad. I mean, you basically just have to get, about 75% of the gems in all the levels, is basically how it goes, I think. So since I didn't get a ton on earlier levels, I'm making sure that I'm trying to make up for it here. Okay, it is 11 o'clock. It is time for the CPG rant of the evening, and for Dojo to go start his stream. Game Dojo is another YouTube gaming streamer, has been around since the very beginning of YouTube gaming here on YouTube Gaming. Plays a bunch of PUBG, Rainbow Six, and other games like that. So if you're interested in that type of content rather than my silly Spyro and talking about ads, you should definitely check him out at some point. Of course, not right now, because the CPG rant of the evening is the time for you to have me yell at you about all the things that you are wrong about. And so we are happy to have you here. The CPG rant of the evening will begin in just a moment. All right, here we go. I just want to get in here. There we go. All right, so now that we've done that, oh, Jacques, that was why you were saying don't talk to Jacques. I didn't get it. So yeah, tonight's CPG rant of the evening is on the YouTube is over party. So sit back, open your ears, and tell me if the audio is terrible so I can try and fix it. And oh my God, YouTube started informing why do I people always... that I always forget this. This is the most stupid thing. And then like the one time I remembered, it didn't actually break. Anyway. Try this again. Oh my God! YouTube started informing people that their videos are no longer monetized. YouTube has ended all fair use on the site. YouTube is using a fidget spinner icon as the buffer icon on fidget spinner related videos. You know what all these things have in common? They're all evidence that YouTube is over! Party. I'm the Chris who plays games. This is your CPG rant of the evening. Over the past year, since the YouTube is over party trend first started after YouTube sent out notices that videos had been demonetized to many creators on August of 2016, YouTube is over party is the tag that everyone trends every time something changes on YouTube. Whether YouTube is over because YouTube has decided to take steps to fight Islamic extremism, whether YouTube is over because PewDiePie can no longer make anti-Semitic remarks by hiring people in foreign countries to hold up anti-Semitic signs, whether YouTube is over because it is removing access to content that is used to improved the lives of terrorists, whether YouTube is over because YouTube is talking to you or not talking to you, whether your numbers are going up or down, no matter what it is, YouTube is over. So let's party. The hashtag was dumb. In the first days it came out, the hashtag was dumb. The entire idea behind the YouTube is over party hashtag was the idea that came about because YouTube had finally started notifying users that their videos had been demonetized by YouTube's process. Now, that demonetization was associated with the ability to appeal that process. And in fact, the ability to appeal, I think, had maybe even existed before, but only via partner support. So by giving creators an ability to appeal their videos, we wanted them to know, hey, by the way, your video's been demonetized and you might want to go look into it and figure out how to appeal it. So we tell them, right? Seems like a good idea to me. I don't know. If you want someone to be able to improve their revenue generation for both them and YouTube, you tell them, by the way, your videos have been demonetized. Please go take a look at it. Unfortunately, as is so often the case, what happened is that they realized, many people had not realized that their videos had been demonetized for a long time, and you can't blame them entirely. YouTube had never communicated this clearly, and although the video manager did have some indication saying that your video was demonetized in the video manager, there was no indication or notification, and so people didn't know that this was already applying to their videos. This actually caused the Internet Creators Guild to do a long write-up talking about the demonetization process and what it was. And in fact, I've done a video about why demonetization, the 1% of videos that don't receive any ads, is actually good for YouTubers by allowing the other 99% of content to be monetized more fully by advertisers who want to be there. The reality is that you want advertisers who want to be on your content advertising on your content, because if they find out they're advertising on content they don't want to be on, they'll stop advertising, period. And that's not good for anybody. Not YouTube, not creators, and not even the advertisers. So we have to find ways that we can have advertisers be able to get the audience that they want, to get the reach that they want, but without doing so in a way that makes them concerned. And understandably, some content out there is not really appropriate for monetization. I think that my video titled "Fuck Nazis" is not really the type of thing that most advertisers want to be associated with, even if they are contra Nazis, as many corporations are. But the YouTube is over party hashtag didn't stop there. The YouTube is over hashtag continued. The YouTube is over party hashtag continued and resurfaced when PewDiePie lost access to the Google Preferred program and had his second season of his YouTube Red Original show canceled after a series of anti-Semitic remarks were pulled out of his videos by the Wall Street Journal. The YouTube is over party tag has been used repeatedly anytime there's a problem with YouTube, and as I said, most recently, in response to the fact that fidget spinner videos now get a fidget spinner as their buffer icon, YouTube creators have decided that YouTube is over. Of course, this predates the idea of this tag by far. I have been being told that YouTube is over since I started working on the site 3.5 years ago, and the idea that that is the first time it has been the case is, of course, silly. YouTube is always making changes, and those changes have winners and losers. They absolutely do. Some creators are more positively affected, some creators are more negatively affected, some creators are more neutral, but there's always going to be changes that affect people differently. And with a scale of hundreds of millions of channels that have uploaded videos, the chances that any one creator would never be negatively affected by a change YouTube made is silly. Of course people will be affected by them, whether they're changes in recommendations algorithms, or changes in delivery of data, or changes in mobile apps, or changes in monetization processes and practices. YouTube is always going to be changing, and there's always going to be winners and losers. But the idea that based on one creator that you care about being strongly affected, or even an upswelling of voices commenting on YouTube's changes to their algorithms, or changes to channel management, or changes to anything else, that YouTube is suddenly going to be over? A website that gets 1 billion hours a day and 1.5 billion visitors a month is going to suddenly die because of a small number of channels being negatively affected? Is silly. Yes, YouTube will make some things harder. When YouTube moved to a 10,000 view limit before you could apply for monetization earlier this year, it is absolutely the case that YouTube made things harder for some creators. to earn their first $10. In the process, it also made things harder for many spammers to create impersonation accounts and monetize the videos attached to those impersonation accounts. It also made things more difficult for people who were uploading millions of videos across millions of channels in order to try and trick YouTube's algorithms into allowing spam and garbage across the site. It allowed YouTube to prevent more monetizable garbage, which is a good thing. A good thing for creators because they no longer have as many people re-uploading their content in order to make money off of it. A good thing for viewers because they're no longer running into things that have been uploaded by other people. That's no longer the case. That anyone can walk in and immediately, before YouTube has a chance to even take the content down, start making money off of these practices, and that's a good thing for creators. But it also means that your first $10 is delayed. It also means that you can't monetize those first 10,000 views. And for some people, those first 10,000 views may take a day. And for some people, those first 10,000 views may take 5 years. The first 10,000 views on my channel, my other channel, I believe took me the first 5 years. When I joined YouTube, I had 100,000 views on my 10-year-old channel. 9-year-old at the time, something along those lines. And many of those came from video I uploaded much later in 2011. I've been uploading videos on the website since 2007. It probably took me years to get my first 10,000. I understand that people who want to monetize their content are going to face uphill battles at times if they are not popular. The reality is that YouTube does not have the resources to give every individual a helping hand when they are not making enough money to pay for those helping hands. They don't. The reality is that with 100 million creators who have uploaded a video, we can't give everyone personalized attention. The reality is that YouTube will never be as good at supporting the little creator as they wish they were, or I wish they were, or you wish they were. Never. And it sucks. It sucks to be a small creator and look around and say, well, why me? And not be able to get the help you need. It sucks to be able to have to deal with seemingly robotic copy-pasted answers. It sucks to deal with a situation where you can't know what you did wrong because the time and effort it would take to tell you that is more money than your channel would make in a month. It sucks that we can't provide better support and resources for creators than we do. It sucks that it's taken us a long time to learn how to communicate with creators, but we're trying. We reached out and created blog entries and had conversations with partner managers and large creators and did everything that we could think of to try and make the UI more clear. We wrote help center articles and shared information beforehand about what we've been doing to try and tell users that this isn't the end of the world. It's going to feel like it. But it's not. But here we still are. At hashtag YouTube is over party. I've heard it before, I'll hear it again. And I'm not looking for a new job yet. So I think that tells you what I think about the YouTube is over party. I'm the Chris who plays games. This has been your CPG rant of the evening. I can't push a button. Tonight, we are actually going to be opening a beer. I forgot to do this earlier, but we are drinking the Cantillon Classic Gouzer. This is actually a beer that the fancy cheese shop that we buy our beer from actually saved for us. Because they got very few of them in, but they saved them for people who they knew come in and buy a lot of sour ale. So when my wife showed up, they were like, oh, we have a beer for you. And so we got that. So yeah, this is a blend of 1, 2, and 3-year-old lambics re-fermented in the bottle. So yeah, and it's got this fun label. Shirts off for everyone. I mean, when I take my shirt off, won't I not be advertiser friendly anymore? Won't YouTube identify the skin? People think like the YouTube algorithms are so smart. It's like, you know, I don't know if you've seen the XKCD comic on machine learning, but it's very much like how all machine learning works. And people sometimes like overestimate. They're like, oh, YouTube should be smarter than just words or whatever else like that. So this says, you know, this is your machine learning system? It's standing on top of a pile of garbage. It says, says, yep, you just pour the data in this big pile of linear algebra and then collect some answers on the other side. And so what if the answers are wrong? Well, they just stir the pile until they start looking right. That's how machine learning works. Like, that's literally like you put in data and out comes other data and you look at it, and if it's too wrong, you put in more data on the other side. Like, that's all there is to it. All there is a question of, like, how much can you afford to spend to fill that data funnel on the left-hand side, and what is the cost to get out the answers on the right-hand side? And so, like, if you can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars filling that data pipeline, then you can do good things with your answers. If the left-hand side is garbage, the right-hand side is going to be garbage too. Chest beauty. I mean, the reality is that you can always judge me on my chest beauty, but you're gonna be limited. I mean, the reality is that advertisers don't want to think about shit, right? Like, they don't care. They just want to be able to, like, reach as many users as possible while spending as little as possible. That's all there is to it. Yeah, I mean, like, the inability to make some of our, like, potentially abusable features available to users who have less than 1,000 subs is a constant bugbear. One of the problems is that because YouTube is good at moving money around, that you're actually looking at a situation like where we're afraid of Russian money launderers who come in and use YouTube systems to launder money, which there's, you know, a thing. They care about the demographics they're trying to reach, but I don't think they care how they reach them. And so, like, really, I think that they care much more about reaching them in the first place than they do about how. So there's no motivation to them to think about how they get there. They just want to say, like, reach these people and go. Russian money laundering? Yeah. Like, on YouTube in particular, with Super Chat in particular, I don't know, but it's absolutely the case that that's exactly the type of thing that large-scale payment processors have to look at, and it's one of the reasons why, yeah. So, you know, you make a channel, like Super Chat wouldn't have this because, like, you have to have 1,000 subs, and fan funding was never available in Russia, right? So making a channel based in the US is harder, and then getting it out to a Russian bank account would be hard in that case because AdSense wouldn't let a Russian account, you know, like bank account be connected to a US account, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like in theory, you know, if you were to allow anyone out there to just, like, you know, add Super Chat to their channel, then the Russian mob could go register a channel. They could, you know, have people who are in the U.S. with the dirty money, or I guess they could register a U.S. channel, right? They could register a channel anywhere, and they could, like, use their stolen credit cards to donate money, and then it would come out the other side minus a 30% cut, but not too bad off. So.
Advice. A wise dragon once told me, aim high in life, but watch out.
I did, Jose. But in that case, I posted the video to the YouTube discuss list, which I don't plan to do this time for this video. And also, even if I did, that video was 2 minutes long, and this video is, you know, a lot longer than that. So I think a lot fewer people would watch it. No, I mean, like, it's, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, a 30% cut is, like, a totally reasonable money laundering cut. And so, I mean, YouTube has a lot of systems designed to prevent this, right? Like, and it's not like Super Chat is the only funding source we have, but it's, like, because, like, the Play Store could theoretically do the same thing or anything else like that. So YouTube has to have systems, or Google has to have systems in place to catch that kind of shit. But that is the type of thing that is, like, a real risk. Is like risks of money laundering being used and other things like that. Yeah, so now I need like 270 left, 270 gems left to complete my 6,000 for this world. Oh shit! I don't know where I just went. Oh, okay. Yeah, and like that's not specific knowledge of like YouTube's policies in specific. That actually came more from my knowledge working on LiveJournal. On LiveJournal, we had to deal with a lot of different cases where you were dealing with payment processing and how do you protect. Oh, that's actually no. I dealt with this. Like I dealt with the Russians the first time, like in an official professional capacity, when some website that I was on had like an insufficient validation checking on the FedEx API calls it was doing. And so like when the FedEx API failed, it would just charge you $0 for shipping. And they were selling like power tools or something. And so like this like Russian, you know, group figured out that this website was one you could go to and buy these really expensive tools that were going to be shipped. And they were like big like lathes and, you know, other things like that would cost like $1,000 to ship to Russia. And you could get them shipped for free because of the broken FedEx code on this website that I worked on. And they got very pissed at us. So apparently they were getting like dozens or hundreds of orders from. They normally served like a dozen orders a day, and they were getting like hundreds of orders from like Russian addresses that had, you know, bought things and been charged no shipping. And so we're like losing money on all of the shipping there. How do I get... Oh, I gotcha. She turned me red so that I could go kill him. I was like, how do I get through you? Like, I already tried this and it didn't work, but had I paid attention to the words she said to me, I probably would have figured that out. Eat the butterfly! Eat the butterfly! Oh god! No! Fuck! Yeah, rip. Yeah, so like overall YouTube has a system for advertising that is not ideal because it takes some portion of content and it marks it as not advertiser friendly. That is not fair because it focuses on fairness, like it focuses on protecting the users who have the most money to lose rather than, you know, something other than that, which means that, you know, bigger creators are more protected by it. And it has a system that is new enough to be really shitty insofar as it takes a lot of videos that are very likely to be advertiser friendly and marks them as like limited or no ads. The limited being basically the state where YouTube feels it's too risky to let this video be advertised. A lot of people trying to trick the system are doing things like creating videos with very limited information. The system has been worse before. Like Hawk vs. Drone was hit by the system like back in May, which I could only tell because it stopped getting like 90% of its ad placements, and it gets enough ad placements every day that I could see that, so.
Hey Spyro, all dragons know there's magic in a fairy's kiss.
So ArcDK, no, YouTube doesn't ever unsub people intentionally. Every time I've looked at this, it has fallen into one of several categories. One is... okay, most of the time, the reason that users think they're unsubbed is because YouTube has changed the account that you're on and, like, screwed up, right? So, like, YouTube has, like, a lot of users have multiple accounts created as part of, like, G+ transitions or other things like that. And so, like, YouTube will, in some software upgrades, like, just go ahead and switch the account that you're logged into, and so people have like their subs shared across different accounts. Now you, ArcDK, are smarter than that, and so like I trust that you are experiencing a real problem. And so if you have been unsubscribed to me, the problem is that we only have data for subscriptions that goes back a relatively short way, like 2 weeks. And so if you haven't been unsubscribed in the past 2 weeks, the team can't actually debug what went wrong to get there. But if you feel like you were subscribed to me recently-ish, such that in the past 2 weeks you might have been unsubscribed, definitely shoot me a... Well, I'm going to be off work for a week, and by the time I get back, it'll probably be too late. But that would be something I'd be interested in looking into. So if you have that situation after I'm back from vacation, because I'm just not even going to take responsibility for anything at the moment, but if you had that situation in another situation, I would gladly look into it. It's a bug. It's just a bug. Take care, system freeze. So the losing subs thing is definitely not is most likely not related to like people actually being unsubbed. YouTube had a problem for like the last week where it was updating, it was screwing up the public sub count number every day. Basically, 2 different database tables were out of sync with each other, and so every day, like, it would add it would add the number of subs and then remove some subs. It affected pretty much everybody, and like the scale of it depended on how big your channel was. So it's like adding or removing like somewhere between 5 and 20% depending on your channel. So it's entirely possible that that's actually what you saw. And your mods resubscribing is definitely weird, but the reality is that also when we look at this, sometimes it's just like people have hit the unsubscribe button accidentally. Like we look at the logs and it just says it's like, yeah, they unsubscribed. Like here's the date that they hit the button. They hit it in the Android app, you know, whatever else like that. So YouTube is also adding like confirmation dialogues to every unsubscribe. There's also a website called Subscribe Plus that you can use, and if you use Subscribe Plus, it will show you like whenever your subscriptions has changed, but it doesn't work for YouTube gaming subscriptions because the API doesn't actually let you list YouTube gaming subscriptions, because YouTube gaming is a terrible hack that no one has ever really fully thought about as far as APIs go. So I don't know. It's also worth keeping in mind that YouTube does have 2 separate subscription systems in YouTube gaming and YouTube, and some people like subscribe on one and then subscribe on the other. So yeah. Gaming Lawyer, good to see you, my friend. Whenever Gaming Lawyer is here, we always play a very special video to us. Brian Wilson, the Texas Lawhawk. Why didn't that work? Because I can't double click. There we go. No? What? I want you to do what I told you to. There we go.
Brian Wilson, Texas Lawhawk! Brian Wilson, the Texas Lawhawk! Talons of justice! Due process! Do wheelies! It's hot out here! Brian Wilson! El Halcon de la Ley! Brian Wilson! The Texas Lawhawk!
Yeah, I also consider it weird that it would be 2 within 10 minutes. That is surprising. But it would also be surprising, like, even if YouTube broke something, that would be surprising. Like, that there's not really a good explanation for that I can think of anyway, other than collusion, right? Like it would only make sense that people would have that problem if they had, you know, talked about it and been like, oh, what? I don't know. Like found out together that they were unsubscribed. Now that could have happened because of the, like, you know, subscribe numbers plus going up or down for a bunch of channels. They might have looked at it and been like, oh, like the subscribe numbers are going up and down and I'm unsubscribed, like I have to resubscribe, but I don't know. I mean, the right answer there is like to ask them, right? And so this is why, like, in a situation where I was not going on vacation in a few days, I would absolutely, like, I would be taking down information and asking for more details so that I could file a bug. The subscriptions team now knows my name. I know how to get in touch with them, and I am happy to bring them issues like that anytime I get a reputable report from someone I trust. Both Sophie and Creekcraft had problems that seemed like this, but Creekcraft like subs and unsubscribes from a lot of people, and so it was like really hard to say, you know, exactly what was going on, given that he like was adding and removing like dozens of subscriptions a day, and so he like would unsubscribe from somebody and then resubscribe to them the next day, which I mean they thought was not a bug, but rather was user behavior. I'm still kind of meh on that, but I did not win that fight, and I didn't know them as well at the time, so I didn't have as much power to kind of take on the fight with them about it. Now I'm in a better chance, I'm in a better place to fight, and I think I have more credibility at this point because I found a bunch of bugs, and so I would probably fight that decision more hard if it came up again. Yes, I am definitely planning on enjoying my vacation thoroughly. I will not be touching YouTube at all. I'm not even gonna, my plan is I'm not gonna touch social media, I'm not touching Reddit, I'm not touching Twitter, I'm not touching Facebook. I am not touching the internet for like the duration of my vacation, as far as I can. Like I expect to like read my Kindle and drink beer, and that is it. Hello 10-Minute Army, hello Grace K, Matoki Punch, Lapis Lazuli, Lapis Lazuli, did I get that right? Yeah. Savage Doc, Sin M, and everybody else, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. I'm the Chris who plays games, playing retro games every Monday at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time, and whatever I feel like every Friday at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time. I play games from all types of different systems, from Atari to NES to Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis to the N64 to the PlayStation. I've also played different indie games on Friday nights when I play whatever I want. I've also live streamed Android games like Pokemon Go, as well as games from the GameCube, the DOS era, and more. I am a software developer working at Google on YouTube, and I'm always happy to answer your questions, whether they are today or any other time, so feel free to ask. If you are interested in some of the games I've played before, you can check out my website, chrisplaysgames.com, where I have a list of every game I have played on the channel, more than 272 total games across 167 different streams on 23 platforms, 23 genres across 17 different platforms. My favorite genre is the platformer genre. My favorite platform is the NES, as it is the platform that I grew up playing the most. I'm happy to have you here today. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. Alright, so what do I got? 59.58. I need another like 40 gems from somewhere. Let's go see if we can find a level. Any level. Find a level, any level. Level. Who's got the level? Welcome, Nicole, and thank you very much for the raid, Lalo. Lalo is 10-Minute Break and a creator here on YouTube. He's also the kind of guy who's going to let you know exactly how you should do your shit up in order to get the biggest audience, taking advantage of SEO techniques and the fact that YouTube is a search and discovery platform to grow your audience and your channel. I highly recommend checking out his Twitter account, where every now and then he just goes hog wild on feeding you the best advice he has on how to do better, and I also hope that you will check out his YouTube channel, where he plays things like Overwatch and Dream Daddy, Persona 5, and others. Lalo's a good guy and a friend of mine, and should be a friend of yours. Am I a YouTube hero? I mean, am I a YouTube hero? I mean, I'm a hero to YouTubers. No, I'm not one of the top contributors / trusted flaggers on YouTube who make up the Heroes program. I work at YouTube as a full-time employee, and therefore I'm actually discouraged from flagging content because the idea of having YouTube employees flagging content is the type of thing that can get you in trouble for with safe harbor laws. This is actually something that was learned by LiveJournal in their lawsuit against Maxwell Photography, their position where they had allowed an employee to become a moderator of one of their more problematic copyright-wise forums has led to them being sued, and it looks like, as far as we can tell, that lawsuit is going forward against LiveJournal and will likely screw all of us in the long run. To hog wild with it, Voz. I don't understand these words. Oh, tipsy. Okay. I was like, I don't understand what Lalo is saying, but if he was having a tipsy stream, I guess that explains it. Obina, actually, there was someone in my office just recently, moved into the Cambridge office at Google, whose name is Obina. And so, like, he said his name was Obina, and I thought, like, oh, that's like the name I learned how to say on my stream the other day. And it made me feel like I was less of an ignorant bore. It was very nice. I appreciate that experience that you gave to me the other day. God damn it! So Safe Harbor is what allows sites like YouTube to pretend that they don't know what is going on their platform. So by basically acting as a content aggregator where we just allow UGC content and not one where we police the content, we have special rights under the law where we are not assumed to have reviewed all of the content and therefore not assumed to be like supporting it or whatever else like that it might be. Which is important when you're looking at copyright, right? Because if we were responsible for copyright violations, that means that instead of Nintendo going after you and claiming content, they could instead sue YouTube for millions of dollars and say, like, YouTube is responsible for that. And so there is a chest somewhere, yeah. Take care, ArtDK! I'll be gone all next week, so definitely don't look for me next week, but I will be back after that and happy to teach you more. Yes, there is a zebra dancing on my stream because everything is better with zebras. Just add zebras. And so yeah, so Safe Harbor laws are there, but Safe Harbor laws don't really apply if your, you know, staff is looking at a bunch of, like, all the videos that come up. It's very hard to say, like, oh yeah, we don't know anything that was going on. And so LiveJournal had a forum. It's called Oh No They Didn't, and it's basically like a celebrity gossip, you know, column. And so people would take all kinds of like paparazzi sourced photos and they would upload them to this community. And so LiveJournal was like, okay, well, this is our biggest community. It drags in a lot of people, but like it has these copyright problems. So we're gonna have we're gonna hire staff to increase the usage of this you know, forum. And like it's gonna be his job to make sure that people can get to Oh No They Didn't and they like see it and everything else like that. The problem is that he then came up with the rules for how content should be verified under copyright, and Maxwell Photography, whose photos were routinely stolen, basically said like, hey, you don't get to claim Safe Harbor and choose the content. Like, that's not how it works. You have to you know, you can do one or the other, that's it. And basically like is having that fight in court. You know, my first idea when you said this would be a little bit like hiring a YouTube employee to create, I don't know, like a Nintendo no, like a leaked games channel, right? Like, we want to expand YouTube gaming as a platform that people come to for like the most interesting upcoming gaming content. And so what we're going to do is hire someone who's going to go and find all of the latest leaks of gaming content and post them to a channel. And like, so in theory, right, like this would be the type of thing that might, you know, gain a fair amount of attention and everything else like that. But oftentimes those things are going to be like leaked content, right? Like that they're going to be copyright violating content from, you know, some company. And so they're going to be upset about it and submit copyright takedowns. If it is the case that you know, YouTube staff are doing this, then YouTube can be sued because they're the ones creating it, which is why YouTube, when they create content that they upload to their channels, is doing like this whole you know, like review process that you have to go through, and they get signed waivers for everyone whose content they're going to use, and blah blah blah, is exactly for that reason. Hello, Mr. 32. We're playing Spyro. My wife is off to pick up my brother at the airport. I want these goddamn gems. How the fuck do I? All right. There we go. Friggity frick. It's talking about safe harbor laws. Yeah, so I think Maxwell Photography versus LiveJournal. I think it's still going on. Maxwell Photography, LiveJournal. And maybe it's wrong. Photography versus LiveJournal. Marvick Photographs LLC versus LiveJournal. So the last ruling was in April. And it was remanded back to the district court, I think, or something like that. So yeah, so that is why, like, YouTube would avoid, like, having humans do reviews for a lot of content, right? Like, if content is flagged, then we can look at it, right? Like, if you get a report that something violates hate speech or does all these other things, then it's okay for YouTube to look at that, generally speaking. But looking at content that isn't reported first has a, like, iffy precedent, and so YouTube can't just, like, go out seeking content which violates guidelines or rules or anything else like that. They have to instead, you know, act on what is reported to them and instead create algorithms, right? So we can't look at every you know, potentially ad infringing video, even if we wanted to, because then we would be going out and doing that. Instead, we have to wait for users to say, like, hey, I think that this is, like, tagged wrong. Can you please help me? Instead, which sucks. Like, don't get me wrong. It's a shitty world that we live in, but that's how we've implemented it. Content ID is different, right? Content ID, the reason that Content ID exists is to allow for the open monetization program. The reality is that without Content ID, we couldn't allow just anyone to upload YouTube videos and make money off of them, because so much of it would be copyright infringement. And so, like, we would constantly be fighting lawsuits about it, but more importantly, we would have no ability for content to stay on the platform but not be oh shit, I have to burn through him. Okay. Stay on the platform but not be paid to the creator and paid to a third party instead. So every time, like, you've got, you know, like Nintendo content, we would be able to have no Nintendo content on the platform because it would just get taken down by Nintendo, and that wouldn't, like, creators wouldn't bother. So by allowing Nintendo to make money and allowing creators to have their content up, we, like, give people motivation to play, you know, Nintendo games just because they want to, or because, you know, they think they'll get more views out of it or whatever else like that, but while still following Nintendo's guidelines on how the content should be used, which is also important. So that distinction is really useful when you're looking at, you know, like allowing people to have the ability to create that content is really useful for allowing this open platform, and of course, you know, monetizing all the other content wouldn't be possible without the ability to do it for, you know, content that's in Content ID. So that's the idea. Like, if we did not have monetization at all, Content ID would not be important because we would have less risk, and there would not be this kind of, like, system where we had to pay other people. We could just pay copyright holders whatever we felt like out of pocket, but because we give out 45% of our revenue to YouTube creators, we don't have that revenue to give to copyright holders or anyone else. Yeah, so the Nintendo Creator Program, I feel like, is just Nintendo running a scam, effectively. Not that it isn't them trying their best, but their best is taking the vast, as far as I can tell, the vast majority of the revenue, and giving a very small amount to the creator in a way that is not illegal, because realistically they could take it all, but is kind of unreasonable in my opinion. But that's kind of my way of feeling on a lot of Nintendo's aspects of how they see copyright. I don't think that we would see eye to eye on many things, so it's no surprise that we see differently on that as well. Okay, so I have enough gems at this point. Ow. Tell me something good. Yeah, so you have to get the charged up fire shot, so. Alright. Yeah, so the zebra in the corner came from the Just Add Zebras campaign done by John Oliver. John Oliver is a late-night TV host who does the show Last Week Tonight and is a former correspondent on The Daily Show. And he, after the election, basically felt like all the news was really sad and came to the conclusion that everything is better with zebras after meeting and talking about running into and talking about the crosswalk zebras in La Paz, Bolivia, who are a bunch of like former convicts who dress up as zebras and dance in the zebra crossings in order to keep people safe, because they had all these people who were dying in zebra crossings. Zebra crossings being crosswalks, sorry. And so they had the system. And he was like, look, it's better, like, if you add zebras to something, it's always better. And so, like, then released 45 minutes of, like, pre-recorded footage. Okay, I can't go through those guys when they're big. That's the trick. Okay. 45 minutes of pre-recorded footage of zebras dancing. And so I have the zebras dancing in my scene. We're gonna go to Nasty's world. Yeah, so the zebra dancing is part of the Just Add Zebras campaign from John Oliver, and I just kind of have them hang out in the corner every now and then. I used to have drone videos too, but I haven't flown the drone recently. I may fly the drone while I'm in New Hampshire, so I've got, you know, I'll be far from airports and civilization and have a lot more room to fly.
Hey, didn't I already free you?
You're in Nasty's world now, Spyro, and you are the dragon who must defeat him.
Bring him on! I'm ready!
Reach the exit in each of Nasty's lands. Then you can challenge the Nork himself.
Nasty Nork? I mean, the reality is that I don't think Nintendo really thinks about, I mean, I think in general, I think a lot of people, a lot of creators give themselves a lot more credit than is actually deserved for, you know, how much exposure is worth, right? I can't eat lunch in exposure. I can't do other things like that in exposure. And so you really need to look at it from a perspective of what's the actual ROI of having someone go out and do this versus, you know, what's the downside? Like, how many people will buy something new versus how many will not bother to buy it because now they've seen the whole game on a live stream, and what's the point? Now, Nintendo's games are generally not heavily story-based, but like Persona, for example, was definitely the type of story that, you know, they said, oh shit, like, you know, this is a story, and if you see it, you won't be able to do anything with it. Like, her story is like an excellent example of that. Like, it is a game which is basically just telling a story. And so once you've seen it through once, there isn't any real replayability. And so I actually emailed the dev before I played it and was like, hey, you know, I know that there's a lot of playthroughs of this on YouTube already, but do you mind if I play through it? Because it's an indie developer, and you know, the whole story is the game. I didn't really want to ruin it without at least asking permission, and he said, no, it's fine. And I certainly understand how at times there can be a lot of benefit from making content available and letting people know about things, especially if you're, you know, getting on a stream from PewDiePie or whatever. That can be a huge push. I think one developer basically said, yeah, because PewDiePie played our game, we made like an extra $100,000 in sales. But that's, you know, not every streamer is PewDiePie. And I would guess that oftentimes if you are watching me play a game, I mean, I play retro games, so it doesn't matter so much, but if you're watching me play a game, that you might not be tempted to buy it yourself, so. Dexter, you had to watch an ad? You should not have had to watch an ad. Did I screw up my monetization settings? Hold on, I'm checking that. Yeah, you're not supposed to have to watch an ad on this video. If you did, Dexter, that's a bug. So well, I'm going on vacation, so realistically, by the time I'm done, I will forget. But if you could submit, like, bugs. Bugs are, I mean, there's all kinds of bugs. If you could follow the instructions in that, like if you're on desktop, if you could grab your debug info and submit it to that form and put a comment in there that is like, saw ad, should not have seen ad, I would appreciate it. Because I try not to turn on ads. I turn on I enable monetization, but I do it such that I only monetize with display ads, not pre-roll ads, because that way I get YouTube Red revenue, but people aren't supposed to have to watch ads. I have no idea, Nyan. I think that's a question for like the Streamlabs data set more so than for me personally. I am biased towards YouTube in general, so my answers are all going to be around YouTube. I think it is much more related to the audience. I think Leif already said this, but I think it's much more related to the audience than anything else. Anyway, yeah, so limited or no ads, as I've said a couple times tonight, is this new state we're rolling out. It's an in-between state between, like, you're okay for ads and you're not okay for ads. It's an algorithmic-driven decision focused on avoiding pissing off advertisers, because when we piss off advertisers, they go away. And when advertisers leave, nobody gets paid, and that's a bad thing. So we've got this kind of new state, and it is pissing off a lot of people. Some people because they can't appeal, some people because it's just not fair, man. And it isn't fair. It's not. Bigger creators who have content that's reviewed first, because they will lose more money and YouTube will lose more money. It's wise tactically and business wise, and not necessarily fair. But my hope is that we do at least expand the ability to appeal to a broader set of creators and videos as we can. As soon as like we've got 200 million videos that are currently being put in review for the first time. That will take a little while. Oh yeah, banner ads are worth almost nothing. Like, pre-roll or go home. I mean, the entire reason that YouTube has a viable business model in the first place basically comes down to the fact that it has an effective pre-roll ad system. Video ads pay a lot of money relative to other types of ads. And so getting those ads in there is definitely why YouTube can succeed. You know, there's a lot of people out there who want access to a pre-roll video ad ecosystem, and YouTube's basically the biggest one. I don't know, Stingray. It seems to me like YouTube making money is such a silly idea, right? It just doesn't make any sense. Why don't we just, like, not have YouTube make money, and then it'll shut down in a couple of weeks? No problem, right? Like, Yeah, YouTube costs like billions of dollars per year to run in, you know, infrastructure costs, probably. People are just like, do everything for me! I don't know about that, Brad. But yeah, PewDiePie, like I said, it depends on the person. Like, PewDiePie is gonna have a huge dedicated audience. Like, his first few streams were crazy. He made something like $22,000 in Super Chat donations in the first, like, his first stream. I am so lost. Ah! I've done Phil DeFranco, I've done PewDiePie, I've done, let's see. And I've also done a lot of people who aren't really YTG fan either, right? So. Oh shit. Alright, let's go get this butterfly. Yeah, you know me. I put my money out there so I can get attention. So PewDiePie is a great source of attention. Yeah, Rares is a weird spot. But yeah, so I see people all the time who are like, maybe this will make there be another YouTube competitor, and I'm like, that would be cool. Like, YouTube should have more competition. I would love for it to not be a monopoly, because if it wasn't a monopoly, it would be more easy for me to argue that YouTube should ban Nazis. But at the moment, as like a monopoly video service provider, even though I realize it's a private business, I have trouble advocating for like no Nazis, deplatforming Nazis, because there is no other platform. And like the EFF, I share concerns about the ability of like monopoly video providers that are effectively like monopolies, like just choosing on a whim to, you know, implement shitty policies. Well, Lady Kitty Unicorn, what a beautiful body it is. I mean, it seems like a reasonable choice. Sorry, was that too body? See, I used it in a different sense there. I'm smart. Get out of here. Sound is lagging? So it goes. Like my voice is lagging, or like the game sound is lagging? Okay, so it goes. Suppose I could use more of my abs. My abs are not that great, you know? I know I'm a sexy beast, but I don't know how sexy. Like, I don't actually need these gems anymore, so there's really no reason for me to get them at all. Ah! Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-bum-bum-bum. Show your flabs. See if I get anything this way. Oh god, don't die, don't, why? Alright, time for more beer. That's what that means. Yeah, whatever. It's not... whatever. that was a bad pour, so I'm gonna have to wait. Oh, thanks, Zamgrade. Yeah, I'm working on finishing up the Nork labs at this point. This is my second stream of this game, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not doing super well at the moment. Oh, fuck. Ugh. I mean, so I have, on my mixer, I actually have a delay attached to my mic because when I record my CPG rants, I realized that my, like, audio was out of sync, and I was adjusting all of it in post, and I finally realized that, like, there's an option in OBS that I can use to change that. So I think that I do have a delay setting in the mixer that I could use. It's the little, like, gear section next to, at the top of the audio settings, there's like a mixer config control, which has delay settings in it, but... I mean, biggest compared to what? Like, we're probably not the biggest human beings on the planet to consume alcohol. I don't have any recommendations for $10 webcams. Pretty much everyone I know uses a variant of the C920 webcam, which is around 50 bucks. I was surprised, like the first time I went to Google has like a weekly company meeting, and they offer beer and snacks and everything else like that. And I remember the first time I went being very surprised by the guys who took like 12 beers and in the 1 hour long presentation just like finished them all off. And I was like, I mean, I know that there are people like this in the world, but it was very strange to me at the time. I think now I'd find it a little bit less strange, but even so, I still stand by the fact that that was... I think it was like 6 apiece. There's like 6 of them apiece. Yeah, I mean, in general, I think that there's a certain age range where drinking is a pretty common pastime. Maybe that's not all it is, but... Yeah, Dan, we talked about that a little bit. I was trying to figure out who owned it, and I think we came to the conclusion that some developer who isn't Sony owns it, and that's probably slowed any potential redevelopment. I will say I actually read a retrospective of how Crash was developed, and like the amount of trickery that they had to do in order to get Crash to work like at all is pretty impressive. So I guess the PS2 or the PS1 only had like 2 meg of RAM, which I did not know. And so you had to fit your entire executable into 2 megabytes of RAM, which is like crazy tiny these days, but I think was small even then. And so like I was really surprised by that. And yeah, so they had to do a bunch of like, they had to like rewrite for loops as while loops because they would compile into, you know, 1 or 2 fewer you know, instructions in like when run through the compiler. They did a bunch of trickery along those lines that they, in order to make it work. And in the end, it fit into the memory on the RAM of the PS1 by literally 4 or 2 bites. Like they were literally like they went until they had 2 bites left, and that was it. Which is kind of crazy to think about, like being that constrained on space. Like usually I'm like, oh man, like I've got to fit this in only like 8 times the size it should fit in. What an annoying limitation. But back in the old days, they were hardcore. Ah! Fuck. Alright, so what I need to do is get over there. How am I going to get over there? Did I figure out that there's something? Oh, right, there is. Okay. So let's go ahead and hit this guy. Oh no! I wanted to stand on top of that. Oh, just touching him was enough? Okay. Yeah, but they're not programming Crash Bandicoot, Mark. I mean, they might be like coding like Doom, probably, but all right. Mr. 32, because opportunism is a disease. No, I mean because people look at something and figure out that they can make a quick buck, and why not? Like, fidget spinners are all the rage. Like, you want a fidget spinner on your mobile phone, so you download one, and someone charges you $1 for it. You know, it's not like really a thing, but it works. Taking advantage of site-wide or cultural trends is an extremely effective way to achieve rapid growth and success in the short term if you time it right. And so it's absolutely something that you can do, whether it's on YouTube or on the Play Store or whatever, in order to maximize on a viral trend. I mean, those things will not sell at all after, you know, next month. This is, I mean, maybe not next month, but they won't last long and they won't be very successful, but they'll be successful enough to make it worth it to spend a little bit of time on it. I don't know, I've never heard of Festival of the Dead. I don't usually go up to Salem. Is that like around Christmas in Salem? Like, going up to Salem around Christmas is generally just like something that locals don't do. The crowds are just kind of really annoying, so. Hey, Bradley! Yes, I am! I should make a spin counter for the hat. There's lots of I mean, realistically, the thing I need to do for the hat is to motorize it. I need to find some, like, I need to motorize it, and then once I've motorized it, I need to connect it to Super Chat, so that, like, you can Super Chat me and then my hat spins. But I don't know, like, physical stuff has never been my strong suit, and so, like, shut up, I don't care. Yeah, so generally speaking, Salem around Halloween is tourist trapped land forever, and avoided by most locals. Motorized and monetized. Right. I think my brother and wife are home. Alright. Up we go. And done. Yes. All right. Where is the next thing? Oh, this is it. Okay. Whew. Will I beat Spyro tonight? I will beat Spyro tonight, one way or another. I am beating Spyro tonight, because I'm not going to put it off for another week while I'm on vacation. No, we are finishing this. Now, there is an open question whether I'm going to finish it, like, at 1:15, which is when I would like to stop, or whether I'm going to be playing until, like, 4 in the morning, because it's going to take me forever, but I feel like I'm on track. Like, I feel like I've got, like, 6 more levels here, probably, or 5 more levels here before I can fight the nasty Nork. And I feel like there's, you know, at 15 minutes or so a piece, or I think there's probably 6 in this whole world, so at 15 minutes or so a piece, we're looking at maybe finishing around 2 in the morning. Hopefully it'll be a little bit faster than that, and you know, I'll make progress. Fuck! I mean, if I keep dying like that, it's not going to go super well. So hopefully that won't continue to happen. Oh, this is the last level?
Be on the lookout for Nork.
There's only 2, because there's like a bunch of faces. This is the last. There's only 2 like lab levels that you have to beat. I have no desire to emulate PS2 games on a GameCube. That feels like dealing with software to me, and I like to minimize the amount I deal with software at home. Oh! Fuck! Okay. Fuck! No! Stop killing me, stupid me! Wall hump, everybody, everywhere. Alright. There we go. Take care, Stingray! Appreciate ya. Dude, I don't need more subs. Yeah, that can't. There's another mouth. I think there's one more. Okay. So there's Nasty. Oh no, Nasty Nork. There you go. Alright. Here we go. Here we go. Alright, Nasty Nork. Okay. I don't know what this guy's doing, but I feel like... Oh, he's got a key. Okay, so he's got the key to that big door that I presumably need to enter for some reason, because I can't reach Nork from the ground, as far as I can tell. There we go. Hey, Eric, how is it going? Now another thing that I need to get a key from. Come here, dude. Oh god. Shit. I have no idea why you've been playing Rainbow Six all day. Perhaps because you enjoy it. Seems like a reasonable possibility. Oh shit, went the wrong way. Oh. Oh, seriously? Hello, Mrs. CPG. Yeah, so the problem, one of the problems I have is like literally just the physical setup of it. Where'd that key go? I didn't see myself pick it up, so hopefully I got it. Did, okay. Cool. Seems like a good combo. Alright, so I think I'm gonna have to jump across this purple pit. Nope. Yep. Game over. So, yeah, I don't know. So I have a bunch of pre-recorded CPG Rant or CPG mini-VODs that we haven't really fully utilized yet. So I've got comments on James Damore of the famous Google fame. I've got the alt-right Nazis thing. I think I've got a video about how we can combat YouTube extremism. So if you're interested in these types of topics, feel free to ask. If you've got other questions, feel free to ask. I don't have anything explaining why the Civil War Confederate statues that we're all arguing about should absolutely be taken down with prejudice. Oops. Oh, frickety frick frick. There's nothing else I want, I know that. There you go. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, so I don't understand. Is there another, like, enemy after Nasty Nork? Because there's another, like, dragon head on this level. And that I haven't opened yet. So, like, burn and then dash? No. Oh no, it's just like literally like the physical assembly, given how the hat works, is my problem. Like I don't know, it's not like the rod is like an easy thing. I don't know. I'd have to probably detach it and do something different. So I'm sure it could be figured out by someone more mechanically inclined than I. Oh, friggity frick frick. It's probably the perfect shot, and I burned it right into a wall. Hello. Spyro. I am. Yes. No, I am. I'm just trying to beat this stupid level. My brother David is here. My brother David is coming with us to the Mount Washington Resort in the coming week. I just showed the pictures from the Mount Washington earlier, although it's been a couple hours now, so most people haven't seen it. But whatever. Ah! Sound-wise? I don't know. The video does not. Alright. I don't know, man. Farmville on Steam. Oh. Is watching people play Farmville, like... I don't...
It's kind of funny. It's like
Oh, Farming Simulator, not Farmville.
Oh, okay.
You said Farmville, yes. Farming Simulator is much more understandable to me, like, that I have watched people play Farming Simulator before. But Farmville is a little bit different. Alright, so now I can get to Nasty Nork, maybe. Get back here, you big nasty Nork. Oh, fuck!
Focus.
I know.
Is there something?
No, I'm good, thanks. Yes. I'm good, thanks. Farmville is a viewing sensation, says Brad. Yes, Farmville stream. Yeah, Dave was saying he watches someone play Farming Simulator, but called it Farmville. And I was like, I feel like, yeah, no, that's fair. How was your flight?
Good.
I booked too many exit rows, so maybe we didn't.
Yeah, not thinking. They were unclear about whether my bag fit the dimension. I was standing around talking to helping. Manager comes over and goes, "It's good you had a bad day." I was like, "Had three different tell me I had a day." All the time, I kind of packed the backpack in the bag.
I did.
You won't be back soon.
I didn't realize you could carry on. So I took the backpack out of the bag.
And then it fit fine.
But it fit all the way down into the little carrier, but the carrier is only like the little luggage measure thing. But it's only like 6 inches high, so it's sticking out a little bit from the outside.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't fit. What do you mean? Both the sides are down, it's in. Within the dimensions, it doesn't fit. I'm like, you're telling me that my bag that is sitting in there does not fit. And then finally at the end, he's why didn't you tell me that 5 minutes ago? Why am I still talking?
I am sorry that the American gate agents were less than stellarly helpful.
Would you like a sandwich with those
So the overall trend was the American Airlines gate agents were unhelpful. Informed him his bag did not fit while it was clearly fitting in the luggage sizer, and then after 10 minutes of complaining about this, explained to him that he got both a bag and a personal item. There was an easy solution to the problem. Yes. I have no idea how I'm supposed to kill this guy. Is he just gonna beat his chest at me and run in circles the entire time? Whoa, okay. I saved myself. I'm good. All's well. There must be a trick here. Anyway, when I finish beating Nasty Nork, or maybe when I finish one more level after Nasty Nork, given that there appears to be one more level and I don't know if it's part of the game or not, I will be ending the stream so I can go hang out with my brother. As I said, I will be off all next week, taking it off to go hang out in the mountains. I will be drinking beer and reading books and relaxing, and it'll be awesome. I can hear myself in the other room, like 10 seconds delayed, and it's very weird. I don't know how you people listen to my stupid voice. Alright. So if there are tricks here, feel free to let me know. And yeah, I kind of saw that you couldn't really hear my brother, but didn't want to interrupt his story, so... What time is it? It is 12:23. What time is it? So do I just have to cut him off on the pass here? Like I just have to get ahead of him somehow? Or do I have to run real fast? I don't know. If anyone has any experience in beating this boss, I'm happy to take tips. That was the wrong thing to do. Okay, so I just have to get real close to him on the pad and flame him. Which I probably was close enough to do last time, except I hit the wrong button to flame and instead like headbutted him. There we go. Alright. All right.
Sorry I took so long. I kind of forgot about you.
What about Ganasty Ganork?
Nasty Nork is toast.
So now there's order again in the Dragon Kingdom?
Well, mostly. I've still got some treasure to pick up.
What will you do next?
I'd say the sky's the limit.
Alright, so, while the credits run, I am going to bail after this, but now is your chance. If you have anything you want to argue with me about, I'm going to be out of town for the next few weeks. Or next week, not next few weeks, the next 2 streams. So there'll be no stream on Monday. There'll be no stream on Friday. If you guys want to, I do have a Discord link in the description below. You can hop into if you wanted to keep chatting. Yeah, I can skip it. I don't need to skip it. I'm just talking. And so yeah, no stream Monday, no stream Friday. If you have anything you want to argue with me about, any questions you want to ask me about YouTube, anything you need to know, I'm going to disconnect totally from social media starting this weekend, and I will be gone completely Monday through Sunday. We've already got people betting that, I think GoldenEye is still a great game. I played it recently on stream, and I liked it a lot. Yeah, so you didn't get to see it, Eric, but earlier we were looking at where I'm going to be staying, like the view from where I'm going to be staying. So this is the view from the porch on the back of the hotel that I'll be staying at, that I plan to be enjoying while reading books, and this is the picture of the front of the hotel. So yeah, so we're probably going to be down in Boston until at least part of the eclipse starts. I think it hits peak here around 2:30, and I think we're going to drive north after that. My other brother is actually going to be driving up before that and watching it from Mount Washington. So yeah, it is expensive. It's hella expensive. This has been a long plan. This is like, we've been planning for this since last November. So this is a big deal. It's my first vacation, like actual vacation of a week in like, I think 2 years now. So this is a big deal for me, and yeah. Yeah, so the Mount Washington Resort Hotel. Yeah. So that's the game. We beat Spyro. I am not a completionist, so I don't have the 100% completion, you know, gene in me. I am weirded out that there's like another face here that I can't open. I guess maybe it opens if you get enough gems or something, but still weirds me out.
Nasty's ancient history now. So, what's in there?
I believe this is Nasty's treasure hoard. But the gate will not open until you have found everything in the Dragon Kingdom. Come back when you have reached 100%.
Oh, okay. So it's the 100% room, which I didn't unlock. So, yeah. So I am wearing my SnapClickKat shirt. Cheers, Clink. It's been lovely to hang out with you all and have a great night here. I will be back in a little more than a week. So take care. Don't kill each other. If anyone asks where I am, tell them I'm not dead. And I will, excuse me, I will see you all on the flip side. Thank you all for being here. Have a great night. And I will see you later. Bye-bye.